Hold on, the background. I can't see my thing.
What the?
Hold on. I do. I can't see my thing, yeah.
I gotta check it out.
Well, why didn't they change it? What's this layout thing? I don't want that. Because I don't like that. Settings. Camera. No.
Did you check it out?
No. I'm trying to see. Hey, Leilani. I can't hear nothing. I don't know if people can hear me or not. Hey, y'all. She gonna change that banner because y'all know that ain't me.
Lisa about to do some things.
Hey, y'all. Haven't seen. It's still, I know. I hit the change thing. She saw me. She said I was so good, but it didn't change.
All right, I'm about to do it.
So she gonna change it now. But while we waiting for the change, hey y'all, this me. I don't know why my face is not up there, and I should be able to hear myself though.
Wait a minute.
Why can't I hear myself?
Wait.
You know what? The only reason I know anything about Kevin Samuels, y'all, is because I'm on TikTok all the time, and the reality is, oh, there it is. I can't hear myself now. The reality is, Kevin Samuels was a internet figure. He was a media figure. That's who and what he was, and he had a very controversial platform. Now I know I'm a woman, and I'm all for women. I'm all for women. I'm all for women's rights. But I am for Black women. I am for the fact that we are vilified at every turn. We are too loud. We are too ghetto. We are too strong. We are too manly. We have too much education. We have too much pride. We're never enough. We're always too much. And we're always used as an example of something bad. And Kevin Samuels built his platform on that. So, my thing is, I kept away from that situation because I'm a 55-year-old married woman. So his particular rhetoric does not affect me personally. My daughter's married and I have a son. So his particular rhetoric does not affect me personally. So I really never paid him any attention because I assumed, and I rightly so, that most of what he said was to get people to pay him some attention. Because the reality is, if you have a Black mama, a Black grandmama, a Black sister, a Black auntie, then you talking about Black women in a negative way that he did, that's just counterproductive. So either you are just the worst dude, or you figured out a way to make people pay attention to you. And some people do it negatively. Some people use negativity to get a platform, to build a platform. Y'all know this is YouTube. We live on the B sector. People spend their days, spend weeks and months and hell years arguing and fussing back and forth about stupid shit because it draws attention. If you want to get your channel to grow, beef with somebody. You know, so 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 Mr. Samuels died on the top of what I think he would consider, because this was his thing: high value men, men who had look a certain way, men who have a certain amount of income coming in, men who have a certain education. They should not have low value women, which to him were women over 35, women with children, women with a quote unquote high body count, highly educated women, because what you need all that education for when you have a man, financially independent women, because if you have your own money, what you need a man for? And he made videos and podcasts and he I'm looking, hold on, let me see. So when he passed away, I just, I didn't think he really did pass away, but he died. And let me see. It was just, he would just disrespect women at every turn. So I never listened Because my thing is, nothing he said was going to change my mind about black women. So nothing he said, so he was irrelevant to me. But I do have followers that are affected by this rhetoric, not necessarily by him, but by the millions of men who listened to him and thought he was right. His problem was not what he said, it was how what he said affected the everyday man. You have podcasts. Every time I turn on my TikTok or my Facebook or my YouTube, it is a podcast about some man talking about how if a woman has a body count higher than his, she's lower value. And every time you have a kid, your value drops. And if you're overweight and if you don't have this amount of body fat, and if you have too much body fat, if you don't wear these clothes or have this jewelry, if you don't submit to your man, I'm like, dude, come on. Say who? Hold on. Hey y'all. All right, I had to look. I'm about to look at my thing, and I'm about to look at my YouTube because I can't see it on my phone. So it'd be easy for me just to pull my YouTube up so I can answer anything I got to say. I don't know. I'm looking. Maybe. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, hold on. I can't hear. It's not.
She's not saying that. Nobody said you got click.
It's on. My volume is up.
I haven't said. Let's say something.
Say something, Heaven sent.
Hello, how you doing?
There you go. See, it's up. But I don't know why I can't hear me.
You're not supposed to hear you.
Oh, well, should I know? So what you got to say? You can't. I can't hear her now.
Hello?
Kim. Okay, here you go, babe.
How you doing today?
All right.
I want to come up here with you and have you and your wife and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
All right? And I'll talk to y'all later.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello, and I'm back. All right, let me see. I'm looking. So, have only heard about this Kevin Samuels. Yeah, I didn't know much about him other than what other people said. Let me see. Yes, he was nobody's cup. He was no black woman's cup of tea. The flat back. Y'all stupid. Hey, just Janelle. As soon as I was said I was disqualified, I went right. I mean, I don't understand. Okay. All right. I Here's what I don't get. Here's what I don't get. It's cool you having your own thoughts and your own opinions about things, but when you make it a practice to put down an entire group of women constantly. It wasn't like he's considered a relationship guru and this, and the third. First of all, I don't want nobody with two divorces under their belt and no woman to speak of telling me how to have a relationship. Because clearly you're not good at them. See, if I was a dude, I would look at the fact that he don't have a successful relationship. So how can he have me tell me how to have? See, that's what I don't understand about things. What do you see? When I look at a blue sky, I see the color blue in clouds. I don't see green in grass. So it's like somebody telling me that I should do this, I should practice this, I should have that, I should look like this, I should weigh this much, I should have this much in the bank, I shouldn't have this much to say, I shouldn't talk loud, I shouldn't talk too soft, I should be submissive. If you don't have a successful relationship, how can you tell somebody else to have one? I don't get it. And women were constantly going on his platform and they were constantly, I guess they were waiting for him to change his mind. But the reality was, Kevin Samuels, he stood over the ground he walked on. Now, it might have been shaky ground, it might have been raggedy ground, but he covered the ground he walked on. He backed up what he said, not necessarily with facts, but with rhetoric. His entire platform is built off of saying the things that people think but don't want to say out loud. He is one of the few people who have no problem with saying the quiet stuff out loud. And that's what happens when we get those people and we have a person that will say all the dumb shit you think. All I want y'all to do is go on to TikTok or just go on to TikTok and put Kevin Samuels or refer to Kevin Samuels in the search and watch the videos of the things he said and watch the videos of the men who supported him. Not just him, because he's one man. He can only physically do so much. It is his words that went into the hearts and the minds of the men that are walking around out here that we are scared of as women. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be scared of men. I have a son, which is why I treat him to respect everybody. He has a black mama. He has a black sister. He has black cousins. You respect the black women in your life, but respect all women. I'm not going to say don't respect. You respect all women until they give you a reason not to. I'm not saying, hear this. I'm not saying that it sounds like I'm saying let women do what the hell they want to do anytime they want to do if you're a man. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just respect everybody until they give you a reason not to. Y'all know how I feel about that. Respect is an earned thing. Until somebody gives me a reason not to respect you, I say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and excuse me, please, and thank you. To me, these are terms of respect I use not just to my elders, but to people the same age as me, my contemporaries, and those younger than me. If a young person comes up to me and asks me something, I will give them the respect. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Even though they're younger than me, I don't know them. But until they've done something to earn my disdain, to earn my anger, to earn my sharp words, I will give them respect. And that was my problem with Mr. Samuels. He didn't respect people until they deserved disrespect. He just disrespected people and he said it loudly so that the people who thought the same thing he did were like, this is my savior. This is my mentor. This is the father figure that Kevin says was never in the house. That we are the breakdown. We as black women are the breakdown of the black family. We did that. We left the men when we got pregnant. We didn't accept the men, where I've heard time and time again how women have accepted their cheating husbands and boyfriends back into their lives so that they will be there for their child. But it's our fault. It's our fault that we got pregnant. And with each child we had, we became less valuable to the next man. But in doing so, he left a baby. Having sex, men can have sex willy-nilly. That's fine. They can have all the sex with all the women as often as they want to, and it doesn't devalue them at all. If anything, it makes a man more valuable because he's been out there practicing. But you ladies, no, ladies, not you. You can't have any sex. You got to be fresh as morning dew, fresh as daisies. You got to be brand new morning sun. You got to be the first dew that hits the leaf. Because if you've done anything, you're of no value to a man. If you're not married by the time you're 35, you're of no value. And they listen to this over and over and over again. And I have listened to men get upset because women are not upset that he's dead. First of all, let me start by this. I don't wish death. I don't even wish harm on anybody. I just don't, because it's not necessary. However, I don't know you. And you spent your entire public platform making it so that you alienated an entire group of people. So why am I supposed to be sad and upset? Why am I supposed to mourn and grieve the loss of Mr. Samuels? I'm sorry he passed away for his family, but I didn't know him, so I really don't care. His life or death really had no impact on me. And if that sounds bad, it is what it is. I'm not one of those people who are affected adversely by the celebrities and public figures if something happens to them personally, because I don't know them personally. Now, if it had been the bomb squad, when the bomb squad gets on here and tells me that they got somebody that's sick or in pain, I'm genuinely upset for them, because even though I haven't met y'all, I care about y'all enough to actually care about whether or not you're hurting and in pain. But somebody who spends his entire career making me, if I was that kind of person, look in the mirror and look at myself sideways because I'm a low value woman, because I've had multiple sex partners, because I got married after the age of 35, because I have a child. If I was the kind of woman that this rhetoric would bother and send into a state of depression or self-doubt, and you don't understand how many women are like that, who would go to him to hear him tell you how you should change so that you'll be of better value to men. And why are men the only people responsible for assigning value to us? Aren't we supposed? I mean, isn't it a two-way street? Who assigns the high value to the man and the low value to the woman? The man? Oh, let me see. As soon as it here, all the Kevinites in the garden, I couldn't care less. I mean, he didn't come for some blacks, so why is his hatred so real? I don't understand. I don't understand why it's like that. But I don't. Why is it that black women always have to explain? Yes, I don't think. I'm sure he believed what he was saying, but I believe the reason he said it so loud and he doubled down on it because he saw that there was a business. He saw that there was a need for somebody who was not afraid to say the upsetting stuff, to say the disrespectful stuff, to say the first thing. Because a lot of us, we have been taught to censor ourselves when we speak publicly. We have been taught to not say stuff a certain way, to not bully or shame people. We have been taught to be politically correct and to not degrade people. So we have this sensor in our brain and we click around till we find the right word or the right phrase or the right topic when we speak publicly. But there are people who relish in the fact that they don't have that little click, click, click. They don't have that little, I shouldn't say this or I shouldn't do that. And they're cool with saying whatever comes to mind. Now, to an extent, I will respond. I will talk to you respectfully until you show me you're not respectful. And then I will respond with the same energy you give to me. If you talk to me with some sense, I'm going to talk to you with some sense. If you talk to me like you done lost your damn mind, well, both of us going to the crazy house together. It just is what it is. I don't raise my voice. Let me tell y'all what I don't do. I'm not arguing with anybody. This is 2022. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm not riding the fence. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. I cover the ground I walk on and I'm 10 toes down for my thing. But I'm going to come to you the way you come to me. If you come to me respectfully, I will come to you with respect. If you come to me with genuine sincerity, I will come to you sincerely. But if you come to me like we in the street and we getting ready to fight, well, then I'm about to put some Vaseline on and take all these earrings out and let's go. The reality is, I do not care whether or not this man meant what he said. I do not care whether or not he believed what he said. I do care that he incited millions of young men, and not just young men. This is not young men that are speaking up for him. This is not just young men. This is men old as him. This is men that should know better. That they're at the age. This is not 20-year-olds. This is 40 and 50-year-olds coming to his what's the word? Coming to his rescue. Captain Save a Hoe for Kevin. The reality is that it is scary to be a woman in the world. Not just it is scary to be a woman. Women have been assaulted. Women have been hurt. Women have been killed for telling a man no. Women have been disrespected and publicly shamed for telling a man no thank you. Women have been accosted and hands put on them because they didn't respond in the way a man wants them to respond. And now you have Kevin Samuels and people out there like him, podcasts, and people out there talking about women, this, and the third. And you don't think that your words and your actions are going to have consequences. These are real life consequences. Women are scared to go home after a date because they're scared that the man will follow them because they didn't like the way the date ended. Women are scared, will with fear give a telephone number because they're scared if they don't get a man the right telephone number, he will find them and do something to them. I watched a man on I was watching something on TV. It's one of them shows, one of them viral shows. The show. I watched a man follow this woman for miles until she had to stop and sit down with strangers so she would stop following her. I watched a man on a video clip pull out a gun and shoot at a girl who didn't respond to him the way he wanted her to respond. I read story after story of young women being killed because they told somebody no, because they said no, thank you. And you have a man who is perpetuating this violence and talking about high value men, low value women. Women are of no value after a certain age, after a certain body type. You can't look a certain way. You can't do this. And then to top it all off, you take a woman's achievements and accomplishments and you use them against her. Because he can say all the pretty words and long sentences he wants. Basically, what he was saying is that you don't need an education. You don't need to make that much money because a man determines how much you're worth. You don't need to be that smart. You don't need to be that independent because a man determines your value. And you say that over and over again. He had hundreds of podcasts. He had thousands of hours of rhetoric. And you keep saying that to men who have no problem putting their hands on a woman because they feel like they're a high value alpha male. Well, unless you're a werewolf, you're not an alpha shit. Unless you're a Greek alphabet. What is it? A letter? Alpha is the number of the letter. That's the letter. Is it that's the letter? Alpha, beta. Yeah, that's the letter. You're not. Hey, y'all. Yes, my category, because I never subscribe to. I get mirror and not subscribe. Hold on. Never heard the guy wasn't even changeable stuff. The real YT never flashed his video on your feed. No, he was Black Trump. Yeah, I mean, the only time I saw Kevin Samuels is when I was on TikTok and people were talking about his rhetoric and the things he was saying. That's the only time I saw Kevin Samuels. I mean, because like I said, I'm a little old for everything. Let me tell you something. You can't tell me my value is not based on anybody, male or female. My value is not based on what my wife says. My value is based on who I am as a person. Nobody else can assign value to you. Not your husband, not your wife, not your kids, not your parents. Nobody can assign value to you. Number one, you're not a piece of property. That's the first thing. You assign value to things that have a value to be assigned. You assign emotional value to things that you're emotionally attached to, like pictures, cards, letters from a loved one, things like that. That's emotional value. And to a lot of people, those things are priceless. You can't put a price tag on your baby pictures and things like that. So that you can assign value. You can assign value to your property, how much your car is worth, how much when you're going to insure your house, you assign value to the things you own. All my stuff is worth 50,000. All my stuff is worth 100,000. You can assign value to things. You can assign value to animals. How much my dog is worth. If we bred him, he would be worth some money. Things like that. You can assign value to these things. You cannot assign value and worth to a person, because what is priceless to one person is garbage to another. Because Kevin Samuels was priceless to millions of men. And I'm sure a lot of women assigned to what he said as well, because it's a lot of women out there who will work against their own self-interest, who will listen to him and say, you know what? If I'm pretty enough, if I'm thin enough, if my booty is big enough, if I can wear the clothes correctly, if I can smile correctly, then maybe somebody will want me. So I'm going to listen to him because he's going to tell me how to gain value to a man. There are people out there, and no disrespect to them, and that's on them. They have to find themselves. Can nobody do it for them? But nobody can assign value to you, babies. And this is what he was saying. Your value is what the next man says it is. Do you see how that sounds? Do you see how rude and disrespectful that sounds? Your life should be priceless to you and the people that love you. So there should be no value to be assigned. I have no idea what this high value, low value shit. I don't know where that came from, because we from the era of sorry ass. We from the era of sorry ass men and trifling ass women. I don't know nothing about this high value stuff, because everybody is worth something to somebody, but not everybody is worth the same to everybody. There are millions of men out there right now that will fight you in the comment section. That if this was TikTok, would come in my comment section and pass the hell out, trying to fight me to see where I'm wrong, to see where I'm a low value woman, and to see where Kevin Samuels was right about women like me. And think about it. Kevin Samuels is the granddaddy to all these podcasts. You remember how the one, I think it was Fresh and Fit, I think that's the name of the podcast. And the guy was on there talking about how all men cheat and you just have to deal with it. Women shouldn't have more than one sex partner. Anything other than that, women can't cheat, but men will. He said a whole bunch of stupid shit. It was that little boy, them two little boys on that podcast was just saying dumb stuff after dumb stuff after dumb stuff, like for a long time. And they was tearing their ass up in the comment section, because I'm like, you two little finished looking fetuses need to go somewhere and sit down. Y'all don't know what women want.
Sorry.
Hold on. Yeah, Fresh and Fit. That little boy was a mess. Baby, when I tell you, he was, I don't know exactly the comments, because like I said, I get a lot of my stuff like the younger stuff. Because understand again, y'all, I am 55 years old. I'm the same age as Kevin Samuels. Well, he was 56, but I'm the same age as Kevin Samuels. And Kevin Samuels shouldn't have been saying shit about no high value, low value. Boy, you are grown. You are old enough to be somebody. Shoot, nowadays, great granddaddy. Get somewhere and sit in. You should be looking for women your age and stop messing with these little girls that boost you up and make you feel good about yourself. And you got these guys on here. Ladies, to all my straight ladies out there, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am sorry that you have to deal with this era of social media and the internet and people saying what they want and saying any old kind of just, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because I just, uh, hey, Susie. Hey, y'all. Oh, just Janelle.
Hi.
Hi. Hello. Go
You
ahead.
can
You say something.
you can hear me?
I can hear you. Can you
Okay.
hear, baby? Mhm. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Um, wait, I have to mute my phone in the background because I'm playing you on my other phone. Yes. With the whole Kevin Samuels situation, I know all his Kevinites, his little followers, are upset that he passed away. But like I said in the comments, I could care less because the hatred and the nastiness that he spewed, in his videos, and you know, the black men who want to sit there and dictate how black women should feel and how we should react to his passing. It's like stop trying to police our emotions. If I don't feel some type of way about this man passing, get over yourself.
But I don't understand why. I mean, here's the thing. I get it. Y'all love Kevin, yay. But you can't be mad at us when he
No,
consistently degraded women. He degraded all women over a certain age, but he picked on black women. His core, his core focus was on black women, how loud we are, how independent we are, how strong we are, how masculine. And he made sure he used words that made us sound less and less ladylike with everything he said. He didn't use women or ladies. He used we were loud, ghetto, masculine, overeducated,
yep,
overly independent. And these things were bad because we were supposed to be quiet, demure, short, small women who took up a very small place in a man's area because the man's space was huge and we only have a small pocket in a man's area. That's why we had to be so small and quiet and demure. And my thing is this, I don't know what that means. In the time now that we as women and especially black women, every time we turn around, somebody is hollering out, black women this, black women that. Now with the Roe versus Wade, white women are mad that we are not jumping on the bandwagon and out there behind them. Here's the thing, sweetheart, when it was about us, when we were talking about things that in the black community, y'all wasn't over here with us, lifting up
nope,
the fist and talking about, let's do it. Y'all weren't over here boycotting doctors and hospitals that would send us home just so we could come back the next day to die. Black women died disproportionately from maternity and childbirth. We are sent home without medication, without pain relief, because we're black and we're supposed to be able to handle that and have more things. And all you had were men like Kevin Samuels loudly spewing how hard and how independent and masculine black women were. And
yep.
they were not the women that you wanted by your side. I ain't never heard him, but my God, cover his family and friends and give them strength and guidance. Yep. I mean, like I said, I feel for his family. I don't know him. Go ahead, Miss Janelle.
It's so much to unpack because it's like, unfortunately, with that saying, when they say black women aren't protected, we're not. We're
Nope.
not protected. And it's just come to a point where black women are fed up and said, fight your own battles. Fight your own battles. It's not our problem anymore.
But
It's not.
when we say that, it's our fault. We're the
Yeah,
bad ones.
exactly. It's not our problem anymore. You figure it out. I don't know if he had some underlying issues with his mom, because it's like, how can you have so much hatred from Black women? Didn't you come from a Black vagina? Isn't your grandmother Black? Your great grandmother? Your great great grandmother? So, like, don't you have a Black sister, auntie, cousin, niece? So,
But I
like,
wonder how his
what's the
family felt, though.
problem?
I don't know. I wonder how his family felt. I wonder how his mom and the women in his family.
You had two failed marriages, a daughter. You have back child support. You were not paying. Apparently, was worth $3 million, but you weren't paying back child support. 10 years you weren't paying, but the audacity to come out on a public platform telling people how to live their life, telling
But see,
people how they should be in relationships, but you cannot stay in one.
but didn't Steve Harvey do the same thing?
Yes, he did. I take advice from no man.
I wish I might. When Steve Harvey was coming out with relationship this and book that and think like a woman and act like a man. Wait, what? Wait, boy.
And it's like, I'm sorry, isn't your stepdaughter out in these streets? And now because she's with Michael B. Jordan, now she's what? I guess high value.
I guess.
Because of who he is.
I guess. Now you know that none of these celebrities are going to openly say they agree with Kevin. Now they will act like they agree with Kevin, but they ain't gonna openly say they agree with Kevin, because the reality is that he said what he said because of the masses, because of the number of Black men who needed to hear somebody validate what they had been thinking when they go date. No disrespect to white women, but if I ask you why you date your husband or your wife, if somebody asks me why I married DC,
Yes.
my answer will be because I love her. She's the shit.
Yeah.
My answer would not be because men suck. My answer would not be because white men don't know how to do nothing. My answer would not be because well, feminine women are evil. That's not what my answer would be. But if you
Exactly.
ask a lot of Black men why they date white women, instead of saying because I love my girlfriend or she's beautiful and she did this for me, the first thing they will say is,
She's
well,
easy. She's
Black
submissive.
women they'll say Black women are this. Well, Black women are too loud and they too ghetto. I can't be arguing with no Black woman all the time. But see, my thing is, if I was a white woman and my boyfriend or girlfriend said that shit, I would be mad because
That's
you
not a
don't want to
compliment.
be with me because of who I am. You want to be with me because of what I'm not.
Yeah.
Think about that. When somebody tells you the reason I'm dating you is not because I love you for who you are, because I love you for what you're not. And I would have a Black woman if she didn't do these things. But since she do these things, I'll take you instead. But then they turn around and get a white girl that wants to act like a Black girl and then tell us we the one with the problem. It blows me. It blows me each and every time.
Yep.
If somebody asks you why you like something, if somebody asks me why I like unicorns, I'm not going to say it. I don't like, see, what happened is that I saw dragons first, but dragons are scaly. So I'm going to say I like unicorns because I like unicorns. I'm not going to bring the dragons into it. I'm not going to say I like Mountain Dew because Pepsi nasty. I like Mountain Dew because it tastes good to me.
Right?
So I don't understand this. It blows me. It's just so much going on in the world, and it seems like everybody would see the attack that is going on with Black women, but it's like with everything else, if it doesn't affect you and yours, it's invisible.
Well, the statistics are out there.
But they don't look at statistics. Think about
it.
No,
they don't, because we are last, right, on the list.
We are last on the list.
We are last on the list.
We are first on.
According to the FBI, what was it? It's out there if anybody wants to Google it. But according to the FBI, I think it was statistics from 2019 or 2020. It's every 4 hours a Black woman is killed by the hands of a Black man.
Yes,
by the hands of a Black man. So let that sink in.
Nobody's. It's like
every
you just
4
gave
hours.
statistics. You just gave statistical facts that can be proven. You gave statistics, and you can look in your timeline. You can just Google some news.
Yes, go look that up.
But guess what? Think about it. The same thing you just said. People won't hear that because
they won't.
When we talk about the violence for the police against Black people, you see the fact. If I was from another country, if I was from Australia, and I was looking at TV, huh?
Well, I'm from another country. I live in Canada.
Okay, I'm from Canada.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the TV.
Yes.
And I see on the TV two things. I see a Black man get shot being pulled over for a speeding ticket, and I see a white man getting handcuffed after killing 9 people. What? But there's no disparity. I see a Black man getting his neck kneeled on for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes. Begging for his mama. Begging for you just to move your knee a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the people were still saying, well, he tried to pass the counterfeit. No, how do you know? Nobody knew why he was on that ground when he was on that ground dying. All you knew is what somebody said might or may or might not happen. Nobody knew, but what you did was made an excuse. But it's still a Black man dead calling for his mama. And that's the same thing Black women go through every day.
Every day.
Black woman goes missing in this country right now. A Black woman just went missing. Somebody just kidnapped, killed, and hid the body of a Black woman, and nobody will be looking for her.
Took her organs, and it's harvested on the black market. All of that happened.
Nobody will be looking for her. Nobody will be looking for her.
Nope.
But let Susie go missing, and it is 13 different news channels sitting out in front of Susie mama house.
Oh yeah, like Gabby, the little blonde hair, blue eyed little white chick from YouTube. The world had to stop. The world had to stop for her.
But that same week, the Black girl who got killed by her date, and then they let him go home.
Mm-hmm.
In the hotel. They let him go home. Even though he was, now in any other world, I watch a lot of TV. And in any of my cop shows, if you have an online date that ends up in a hotel, you have the man, the woman and the woman, whatever.
Yeah.
And one of them dies. And the other one just leaves. The one that just leaves to jail. But he's free. This is what I'm talking about. Kevin Samuel was a danger and still is. His death changes nothing. If nothing else, it martyred him.
Yes, it did.
So now all the Samuelites will be sitting up there going, his words were so prophetic. Black women are not even mourning his death. First of all, I'm not trying to be funny. I don't mourn the death of people I don't know.
That's right.
I feel as any normal human being is, I'm sorry, because I'm a mother. If I'm going to tell y'all, and it's about to sound bad, and hey, it is what it is. I don't think if I was a mama, I would care. If I wasn't a mama, I don't think I would care. And I know that sounds bad, but I don't know you.
But
when I was young and I was in my 20s, my mom told me something. My mom told me something one time, and I didn't pay it any attention till a couple of days later, and then it really kicked in after I had Nick. She told me, she said, "You don't care about nobody." I said, "You're right. I only care about the people I care about, and that includes blood." And she was like, I said, "That's just, it is what it is." I said, "I care about who I care about. Everybody else, I don't wish you dead, but I don't care if you're dead or alive." I mean, and I had to sit and think about it, and she was right. I had to own my shit.
Yep. Well, you're
I
better
cared
than me.
about the few people I cared about. And I mean, I don't understand how me, one person, is supposed to carry the weight of every human being or every dog and every cat and every animal and every tree on the world.
Well, that's what they expect of the black woman since what? Slavery?
So
Since slavery?
so it wasn't until I had Nick that I realized that I care about mamas, because I knew if something happened to my baby, how it would snatch my soul. So I don't think that if I wasn't a mother, I don't think I would care at all. I only feel for his family because I understand the soul snatch of losing someone, especially your child. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So I get that.
I can't go that far because I mean, yes, she lost a parent, but unless he had a relationship with that child, I
No, I don't even
mean,
mean the daughter. I'm talking about his mama.
he was probably already dead to her. Sorry, what that sounds like, but I keep it 100. That's probably the New York in me, even though I live in Canada. Don't let that fool you. But it's but
I mean,
it is what it is. Because even when it comes to the death thing, I don't know where people get off on this moral high ground. I have
right.
some members of my family. Well, I should just let me correct that. Let's use proper diction. I have people I'm related to. We share
Right.
DNA markers that I'm
Right.
sorry what it sounds like. You drop dead tomorrow. It is what it
It
is.
is what it is. It's your time. I do.
Okay? It
I
is what it
firmly
is.
100% agree. And it sounds bad, but
It
do
can
you?
sound crass. It can sound like whatever. Go to your maker and talk about it. But I know for my soul, my brain, my whatever, listen, I have no qualms about it. You passed, you passed. There's
No, I
some
don't
family
have any.
members, I've never laid eyes on you, you've never laid eyes on me, so don't tell me they passed. For what? To clean your conscience, to clean your soul?
Yeah, pretty
That
much.
does nothing for me, that's for you.
Let's see. Hey,
So it's
Veronica.
like
People were coming. I had to look down. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I had to look down because people are coming in now. Hey, y'all. Everybody who I hadn't said hey, y'all, too. Hey, y'all. And we have Miss Just Janelle on the panel with me. And we, if anybody else would like to join the panel, just click the link.
yes, please.
So, because
But yeah, it's like don't tell like you cannot tell people how to feel. Their feelings are their feelings, including having no feelings at all. That's a feeling as well.
right.
So if they feel no way, they feel no way and move on. If you guys want to pour out some liquor for your boy, the Kevin Knights, the Samuelites, whatever you call yourselves, you're a cult now. Do that for your boy. But don't sit there and tell a black woman how to feel and how to be because we're told that all day long anyways.
Yes, we are. I watch. Let me tell you something. I am of the fair skinned black one. I'm very fair skinned. I tan beautifully. Now you see the melanin in the tan, but the skin that I was given is melanin challenged. However, I have never in my 55 years of on the earth, except maybe when I was a baby and I wouldn't know then, have ever been mistaken for anything but a black woman. That being
Mm-hmm.
said, we
Yes.
are constantly told how to look. As I was growing up, I was told what I needed to look like, how I should wear this, how my hair should be, how I should maneuver. I grew up in the South, and all I wanted in the whole world was to look like my grandmother. To me, she was the most beautiful creature on the earth. Chocolate, just all I wanted to do was look like her. As I grew up, that's still all I wanted. Older I got. Never did change. I became okay with my skin eventually, And that's
Yes.
not too many years ago. Because even as a young adult, because I was always a bit heavy, because I've always had issues to myself with myself. Now, the outside people, you're gorgeous, this, and the third. I didn't take
Mm-hmm.
compliments well. And because I wanted to look like my grandmother and other family members that I knew, I thought they was just gassing my head up for whatever
Yeah.
reason. I was I got boobs and butt in the 7th grade, and little did I know people were hitting on me. I didn't know what that meant. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
raised to know what that meant. So now that I look back, because of the way I looked, I gained unwanted attention. So as I got older and I could temper the attention that came my way, I ended up being to myself a lot. But the one thing I've always been is about Black women because of my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more beautiful. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If I don't love nothing else, I love Black people because we do everything, even bad shit, with flavor.
I know that's right.
Even when we do dumb stuff, we still do it with a flair and a fling and a flip and a flop that can't nobody else touch. Even through all the adversity, even through all the oppression, and it kills me when people think that's still not going on, but that's a whole nother topic. Even with all the things that we have going against us, we still find a way to shine and smile and laugh and be stunning doing it. Which is why people like Kevin Samuels and these young men and the women as well, I don't understand where they don't see our greatness. We hold our head up high through everything, through rocks being thrown, through spit, through fire, through lynchings, through water hoses, dogs, watching people be hurt, watching our men being incarcerated, watching our children.
But at some point, they turned on us. Black
Being
men. Yes, they
treated,
did.
right, being
At some
treated as
point,
adults.
they turned on us.
My son, every time I look at him, all I see is my baby. But I know that society sees a grown ass man.
Yes.
I see a 17-year-old boy. Now I know he's a young man, but that's my baby. But society saw a grown ass man when he was 11. And people don't understand that. They think we make this shit up. People like Kevin Samuels, who
Mm-hmm.
degraded women, Black women, and not realizing that we're the one that raised you. I don't care. Let me tell you something. In a perfect world, there would be parents in the household, and daddies would not leave their kids behind, and women would not have to beg for the attention, and kids would not have to beg for the attention. But this is not a perfect world. This is reality, and shit happens. But women, the one that stay in the house, we raised them kids. It don't matter what the daddy doing. We have we have we have made the 50s and the 40s and the 60s like this time when the family was such a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wasn't raised in, you don't know that daddy might have lived there. But he wasn't raising nobody. His clothes might have stayed in the house, but he wasn't. You provided some money. Thank you. But that woman that he degraded, the woman that Kevin Samuels talked about, the woman that had the multiple kids and had this and that and the third, that woman is the one that got them kids up every day to go to school, made sure they ate, made sure they did their homework, made sure their boo-boos was covered up with bandages, made sure they clothes, if they didn't have new ones, their old ones looked new. These were the people that did that. So it burns my ass every time. These were the women that took the kids that didn't nobody else want to raise. You're talking about women who raise nieces and grandkids and nephews and cousins, because you had some daddies out there still having babies. Because I know my uncle had a baby when he was 67 years old.
No goodness.
He had his 10th child when he was 67. Yes. And my auntie was 44.
Well,
Sure was. I was like, sir, you give out worms. Don't do that no more. That's my grandma used to tell me all the time. From the South now, old man give you worms. That's why I never dated nobody that much older than me. Because I was scared. Come on now. You can't be raised up with your folks telling you stuff and you're not shit. Now, I don't know how to gain your worms, but that's what my mama said, and I believe what she said over what, over what the doctor said. But yeah, he sure did. My cousin Krista, her daddy was 67 and her mom was 44. Sure was. You got these women sitting up here begging and pleading and just come hang out with your kids. But see, here's the thing. Here's what they fail to tell you. He didn't just have your family. He had his wife. And then he had the other family down the street. Them
Yep.
kids that you made sure that you didn't hang around them kids. Them kids that look a whole lot like your kids. But you had to make sure little Billy and little Sally didn't get together. Because that's your brother, that's your sister. See, you ain't say this stuff. Y'all put all this fairy tale on the nuclear family and the way it used to be. Well, who says the way it used to be is the right way? You know what kids need? Kids need people who are there for them. You know what women need? People who are there for them. You know what men need? People who are there for them.
That's right. Did you
That's
see that
it.
video that Kevin did where he said that Black women shouldn't believe their daughters when they say that they're being abused? Oh,
Yeah.
woo!
And let me tell you something.
Woo!
Yeah, I forgot about that one. My bad. My
Woo!
bad. I forgot about that one. Kevin Samuels said in the video that here's what started it. He said the man is always first. You feed him first. You believe him above all else. If your daughter comes and tells you that she has been sexually assaulted, touched, and molested in any way, don't believe her. Believe the man first. And I'm gonna tell you something, and it's about to sound really, really bad. But if you look and you think, you'll see that maybe I'm just a little bit right. Our society, or the society as a whole, the world society, women as a whole have always been less than. And the older the woman got, the more less she was. So understand and know that men dating and marrying little girls, black and white, has been going on forever. And it's prevalent in America. Your mama will be 16 years younger than your daddy. Your mama was 12. Your daddy was 35.
But it's like any Black man, it's like once he made that statement about the child, that didn't turn you off. This guy is he's still your grandpappy, your godpappy. Like it's still Hail Kevin.
Think about it. Think about it. Come on, Miss Chanel. Come on, think about it. Come get with me. Come with me with it.
Because it's not just
think
girls
about how
who are
many
molested.
Women.
Boys are molested too.
Right, but think about how many women. How many women? I'm going with the women right now. Because if this is not the father in the household, and it's not to say he ain't gonna do it. So let's just get there. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the daddy is left out, but we'll go with under the assumption that the father will not touch the children. So let's go into that assumption. Do you know how many women on a daily basis do not believe their children? Do you know how many women bring a man around their house on a regular basis and bring him into the house? I watched this show. Let me sit up a little bit. I half watch it. I don't know if anybody else do that. I watch it, but I don't watch it because it gets on my nerves.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's love after lockup. It's love after lockup.
Oh goodness.
Right. It
Yes.
gets on my
Yes.
nerves. So I can't watch it. You know, like I watch Chicago Wednesday. I watch Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, and Chicago PD. I am fully invested in Chicago. Shit, they make me want to move there, but then they make me don't because they do a lot. But I
Yes.
am fully invested in Chicago. I watch the reruns and I watch the new shows. I can't watch Love After Lockup like that because it gets on my nerve. However, this season or this go round, there's this girl, I can't think of her name. She's from Baltimore. And I think that's why I zoned in on her because I watch a lot of shows about killing and stuff in Baltimore and Maryland.
Ooh wee. Yep.
They get down. They boogie down. So when I heard she was from Baltimore, I said, let me pay attention to the little girl. She was a relatively attractive little girl. And I say this because people are going to be like, oh, that's just wrong. But the reality is you don't know somebody. You have to like how they look. That's just is what it is.
Yes.
And while everybody may not be for everybody, there are some people who are just not attractive for anybody, but they might have a personality and other shit going for them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this little girl wasn't ugly, but she wasn't not ugly. Does that make sense?
Yes.
She had pretty things, but she had a couple of things that didn't go right, and her attitude was slightly stank. And so
Mm-hmm.
she's talking to this little boy that's in jail. I think he's Puerto Rican. I want to say he's Puerto Rican. He's a beautiful little boy. Now he's a beautiful little boy.
Okay.
Beautiful little, he's something. You know what I'm saying? He could be
Yeah.
mixed. I don't know whether he's Puerto Rican or mixed. Because he looks like he could go either way. You know that one little boy that looked like he could have a black daddy or
Oh,
be
those
Puerto Rican?
racially ambiguous people.
Yes, yes.
You don't really know
Long
what they
hair.
are.
He's a pretty little boy. I have to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't date light skins, but he's a pretty little boy. I made one. So I appreciate him. He's a pretty little boy. So now she has got this dude on lockdown in jail. And she is killing herself. She has moved. She picked up her and her daughter. Let me say one more time.
Mm-mm.
She picked up her, and I want to say her baby is 5 or 6 years old, year-old
Mm-mm.
daughter, and moved from the comfort of her family and her home in Baltimore
No,
to
ma'am.
Cleveland, Ohio, to get with this dude, to make an apartment and make a life for a dude that ain't out of jail. So now you got your daughter calling this dude daddy who just got out of jail, who got another girlfriend that he's talking to, but you want to marry him, but you got your daughter around this dude.
Nope.
So I'm going to tell you, Kevin Samuels could go so far with that comment because there are a lot of women who will believe they do over their kid. There were a lot of women who will ignore their kid for they do. And that's why Kevin Samuels could get away with dumb shit like that.
Yeah, it's just his statement was just like, don't believe what they say at all. And it's like, no.
Because there are a lot of women that let that shit go on. Now,
Yes.
to me, it should be across the board. As soon as my child tells me that you touched, looked, smelled, came close to, brushed up against, looked cockeyed at, thought
Right?
about it,
It's
dreamt about
on.
it in another house, you got to go.
Yes.
I'm not gonna sit up there. I'm not gonna sit up there and wonder whether or not my baby telling the truth. I'm not gonna sit up there and go, let me tell you why. Now my baby could well be lying. Could
Yes.
well be lying. Or could be misinterpreting something. I'm
Yes.
saying it for a reason. You
Yes.
could my baby very well could have misinterpreted the situation. Maybe they were in the bathroom and he came in the bathroom and know they was in there, and as soon as he saw him, he dipped out. You know what I'm saying? It could very well. But if I'm in a situation where my child has to misinterpret a situation, then I'm in the wrong situation. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to believe my baby. Because on the off chance that my baby is mistaken, I'm still going to believe my baby. Because when you don't, You scar these kids. And because these kids are growing up and going out with so much of that, you are building generations of kids who will ignore the children.
But you don't think some of that has to do with parenting?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
A lot
all
of, yeah.
parenting.
It's
It's
all
all parenting.
parenting.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
parenting. It's
Yeah.
all parenting. If you are a single mother and I don't say don't actively date, because you cannot give up your life for your child because it's not healthy.
No,
Giving up
but
your
stuff
life
like
for your child and
no.
making your everything about your child, making your son your boyfriend, and making your daughter your best friend is why you have grandbabies at 14 and 15. I'm
Yes.
not your friend. I'm not your little friend. I ain't never gonna be your little friend. Now I got your back. Now I'm your cheerleader. I'm the president and CEO of your company. I'm the treasurer when you're running out of money. I am the police. I am the security guard. I am the bulldog on the chain. But I'm not your little friend.
But it's
Because at
like
some point, you're going to need to respect me
yes.
and know that what I'm doing is for your best interest and not because I'm just doing something. And if you don't show your children healthy relationships, your children won't know how to have healthy relationships. That's why so many people that come out of marriages still don't know how to have healthy marriages and relationships because they didn't see one. Because people assume because you're married and stay in the same house that's best for the child. But if you don't think your kids see the little shit y'all do to each other,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't think y'all kids hear the little stuff y'all say to each other, if you don't think your kids notice how you don't hold hands with your wife and how you don't kiss daddy on the forehead, then y'all are dumb and you shouldn't have procreated. But yes, it's all parenting. It's all parenting. But that's what it is. She moved not clear across the country, but about 10, 20. Her mama couldn't just hop in the car and drive to her in a couple of hours. You know, if something pop off.
Exactly.
So you moved that far with your baby to a man who just got out of jail, which I don't understand. That blows me in and of itself. I have no problem with somebody being in jail, but get your shit together before you come to me. Because both of us can't be raggedy. Both of us can't be fixing our stuff. And I don't have the time, especially if I have a child, to help you fix your stuff. Whatever you did to get in jail, if you actually was supposed to be in there, you got to figure this stuff out. I don't know. If I was a dude, I'd be like, you look, don't come here. Stay there. Let me get together before you bring yourself and this baby over here. Because I'm just not getting out of jail. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do.
Yeah, but he's selfish. He's not thinking about that.
True that.
Right? He doesn't care. He doesn't care about that.
But then a
And I don't
mama
get it. Like
should.
I tell people all the time, I just keep it real. Are you judgmental? Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
I
I
am.
am judgmental. I am just going to keep it 100 with you. Yes, I am. Because I know a girl like that in that situation and she has a kid. And when I say hot crotch, oh my goodness. This girl thinks with her crotch all the time.
The
And
mama
she
or the
has a
daughter?
child. She has a son and it's like her son's on the back burner and it's like, why is your house a revolving door?
But see, that's where Kevin Samuels, because that's where Kevin Samuels gets his ammunition.
Yes.
Because the
And I'm
reality
sitting
is
there like, my nigga, like seriously?
that the reality is that is a small percentage of women.
But it's
But
like,
here's
you don't think something could happen to your son because you have a boyfriend? Because a man can't do that to your son? Are you
I don't know.
serious?
I don't know
Like
why they
men,
think that.
are you serious? Like you think they're just doing that to little girls? They're doing that to little boys too.
I don't know
But
why they think that.
it's like you're so busy thinking, I need one of my holes filled. And that's all you're thinking about. And you're thinking no harm could come to your child. This is where it's like, I don't understand
Yeah,
mothers who
put it
don't
right
put
here.
their kids first
I
when it
mean, I
comes to
don't know.
situations like that. You got to learn to be by yourself and be alone sometimes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a
And,
lot
and,
of
and,
people
and
don't.
keep down there dry.
Wait, not dry, Lord.
Well, I mean, like,
Dust.
You don't got to have a man or a woman, whatever your preference is. You don't got to have someone between the crotches all the time.
Not the crotches. But no, but yes, you're right. But see, that's where and that's
Without a
another thing.
toy
That's what Mr. Samuels.
sometimes.
That's where he can. That's where he. That's where his bread and butter is. It's the fact that and it sounds bad, but we have been conditioned. We've been conditioned that before Kevin Samuels, because while he is the new version, there's always somebody
Mm-mm.
that has his thought process. There's always somebody out there who's willing to say the quiet stuff out loud. He's just a new version of it.
Yep.
And women have been conditioned for a very long time that for a man to want us, we need to be a certain way. Women have also not been told, we've not been reiterated. First off, we're told that it's bad for women to be sexual. That's number one.
Yes.
That's the first thing. Number one, it is bad. Women are not supposed to be sexual. Only men can be sexual, and women are the products of that sexuality. We're
It's a,
told that we are not supposed to have more than one partner. If we do anything else, we're a hoe, we're a slut. And even if we just have that one partner, frequency in which we have sex with that partner, they'll still say, you're a hoe, you're a slut, whatever. So we've been conditioned through time, through media and everything. And the more that social media became popular and the more prevalent it became, the easier it was for women to think their value laid inside of a man's ideals.
But you know what's so crazy? All those rules and stuff, men.
Right,
Men
but
said
they
all
don't
those
look at it
things.
like that. We see it, but they don't look at it like that. Every rule. And I'm not saying all men, because it sounds, when we get to talking about things like that, it sounds like we're men bashing. I'm not saying all men, but the reality is you don't need it to be all. Oh, you only need a few. You only need a couple. You don't need it to be everybody and all. Because think about it. 90% of the wealth in the United States is held by 7% of the population. 90% of wealth is held by 70% of the population. So it's not hard for a few people to make an entire country feel a certain way about themselves, because all you need is enough people, one or two people saying it in a way that people spread it. And then you now have men that are like, oh, okay, well, if I do this, then this makes me a man. Because just because you got a daddy don't mean your daddy is teaching you right. Because somebody taught him. And the reality is men have not been taught correctly lately. The very same men say they want all this and do all that and this, that, and the third are the same ones that don't want to pay the bills. Are the same ones that don't have the houses, that don't have cars. The same dudes that are saying they're the high value man and that a woman is this, and the third, is dropping her off in her car at work.
Right.
The same dudes who run the
Or
podcast.
they're still in the 5th grade. I don't understand it. But you're mad at me because Black women are the highest educated, person in the United States. It's facts. Go look it up.
But here Kevin Samuels telling that's the bad thing.
Right.
That's the bad thing. Being highly educated. Why do we need to be highly educated? I saw somebody did something, everybody's talking about Kevin and everything. So everybody has a blurb or has some kind of talking point. So somebody was saying, why do you need to have all these degrees? You won't make any more money. Well, first of all, how do you know you don't have a degree? But thanks. And second of all, not everybody gets degrees because it'll make more money in the long run. Some people want to be educated. Some people want to know what they're saying. Some people don't just say. It's as easy as knowing when to Google. These people get on to these podcasts and on these videos and on these little snippets and blogs, and they talk like they know exactly what they're talking about, and that every word that comes out of their mouth is substantial and correct. When they don't even know that all I have to do is Google what you just said to see that you're lying. But do you know the majority of people won't do that? They will take these people for their word because it must be correct because he has a podcast. He must know his facts because a lot of people he has a lot of followers.
Right? He got 1.4 million followers, so he
must
be right.
Know his facts.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to think that it would change. It's not. We talk about it because these things need to be talked about, because every time something happens, we need to have these forums. And I may not have the biggest platform, but I will take my platform, and maybe somebody else with a bigger platform will come and talk about it. Because the reality is that Kevin Samuels spread dangerous rhetoric. His words were dangerous because just because 99% of the people who listen to you will never be violent, it is that 1%.
You know what's so crazy? When I looked at the analytics of his between like his podcast, like on his podcast, 70% of his followers, women.
Well, baby, that's surprising.
Women. No, because women is it doesn't surprise me.
Do you know why Trump was president?
It's like, yeah, 70% of the followers were women, but it's like, yeah.
Do you know why Trump was elected as the president?
It's because of us.
Because women didn't like Hillary Clinton. Women didn't like the fact that Hillary Clinton stayed with Bill. Women didn't like the fact that Hillary Clinton had did so much, because I don't know why they really.
We are our worst enemy.
And now, you want us to jump up and help you when they overturn Roe versus Wade. Well, guess what, Sugar Lump? We not the ones that was having the problem with the abortions. It was your husband having to get his girlfriend's baby got rid of.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was you that got to have baby number 17 because it's not enough of y'all being born. It was you whose uterus is getting ready to fall out because Big Daddy is trying to get what is it? How many on the football team? 11? It's not us, baby girl. And do you know, I was watching a TikTok the other day, and this white lady had made this entire video talking about how Black women should help with the protest of Roe versus Wade because we've had to protest, because we've been oppressed for so long, because we have the knowledge of oppression and censorship.
Mm-mm.
That's what she said. She said, because we have the tools, because we have been oppressed, degraded, humiliated, downsized, put upon, left out, because our missing women and children have gone ignored, because our dead have gone ignored. Because we have the knowledge of protest and activism because of what they do to Black women, we should help you. No.
See that privilege? The fact that she could even go on a platform
and she did
and say something video. Like that. But you know what? That's our fault. Shit. Like I said, we had no business getting involved with what is it? Was it the whole feminist movement?
Oh yeah, that
had nothing to do with us.
Not nothing. Not
nothing to do with Black women.
Nothing.
Who told you to jump in that? We had to do with MLK and we had to deal with Malcolm X and Black Panther movement. Who told us to go and stick our nose into the white woman and the feminist movement? That had nothing to do with us.
Because at the end of the day,
look at us.
Because at the end of the day, we will do it. Because
No, but it's like,
because it doesn't matter when I see somebody's son getting shot by the police. It doesn't matter if it's a white boy.
but then what happens is when we have someone saying, I can't breathe, where's the white lady? She's sitting there in Calabasas talking about it's not my business. But now, when you want somebody to march with you and hold arms, you're sitting here talking about you want the black superhero.
Right.
No, fight
I
your
haven't said
own
hey y'all.
battles.
Let me say a quick hey y'all to everybody who came in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm not really reading the chat. Baby is reading it for me, so she knows more stuff. But I haven't said hey to everybody. Hey y'all. But go ahead, because I looked down and I
Yeah.
saw some people I had to say hello to.
But it's like, yeah, no. So, no, Black women, cut it out. You got to fight for yourselves, level up,
I mean,
fight for your household, your immediate household. And I'm sorry, Becky, Sue, you know, Bethany, Sally, y'all are on your own. Figure your stuff out on your own.
We've never had a choice. As Black women, we've never had a choice. We've never had a choice. We are, when you go to the hospital, I know, I was pregnant with Nick and I had gestational hypertension. I had just found out it was before my first doctor's appointment. I was almost 5 months when I found out I was pregnant with Nick. And I found out May 27th. My first doctor's appointment went to June 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Like a week before my first appointment, I guess my blood pressure spiked.
Yes.
And I didn't know. I had a headache that I had all day. And it was a headache. It felt like somebody was inside of the middle of my brain stabbing my forehead from the inside. It was nothing. It wasn't a migraine because I had those because I wasn't sensitive to light. It was the worst thing I'd ever felt. I went to the emergency room. Because I didn't know. I was pregnant, but I know I needed to get checked out, and it was at night. I had dealt with it all day, just in the house, taking stuff. Nothing helped. It didn't matter what I took, and I didn't take anything heavy because I was pregnant.
Yes.
So I went to the emergency room, and there was 2 people sitting in the emergency room. I got there. I sat in the emergency room for almost 2 hours before I even went back. Before I even went back to the back for them to take before I even got triaged. I get triaged and my blood pressure is high. So they take me to the back, but I spent another 4 hours in the emergency room because they couldn't find a maternity bed. Now, I don't know what the hell they had to go look for. And they couldn't find my baby's heartbeat. Even though, I ain't gonna lie, I was in denial about being pregnant. I had hurt. They couldn't find a heartbeat.
Yes.
And this is how I know they don't pay us any attention. Because it's not just because some shit that people say about on TV. It's not just about some blurbs and some. This is what I dealt with 17 years ago. I sat down there and they finally gave, still headache, still hadn't gotten anything. I'm still laying in the back, balled up. And this is when you're having all the crazy symptoms. So not only did I have the headache of all headaches forever, but I don't know if anybody else, my nipples were like, if they get cold, it felt like they froze them, was breaking them off and then freezing them again and breaking them off. I had pain everywhere. So I was covering my nipples, trying to let my hand warm. And the doctor said, don't do that because you can start labor. And then I'm like, what the hell? Nobody is helping me. I'm sitting here back thinking my titties gonna fall off and my head gonna explode. And she couldn't hear my baby heartbeat. So now I finally get up to the room. I don't get a room by myself. I'm in a room with another girl. And here's what I'm telling y'all. They don't give a shit about women, period. She was from another country.
Let's put the emphasis on especially Black women.
Especially Black women.
Yes.
But when I say
Yes.
period, they
Yes.
don't give a shit. So I'm in the room with another girl, and they finally put me on whatever, and I'm finally, my head is finally, I guess they gave me whatever they gave you, the ringers and the drugs, da 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 da, like all that. My blood pressure finally goes down, and my head finally starts to calm down. I'm just laying in the bed, laying in there. I had to spend overnight till they got everything situated. So the next day, this girl had an ectopic pregnancy, the girl that was next to me, and she was like from like Romania or over there. She was from over there.
Yeah,
I
over
don't know
there.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
but she had whatever. She'd had an ectopic pregnancy, and she had to have surgery. So when the nurse came in there, now hear me. My mom is a nurse. My mom and my dad were a nurse. So I
Mm-hmm.
know about you not supposed to talk about people. And I worked my first job was in a drugstore. So I knew all about HIPAA and what you're supposed to do and what you can't do and what you can talk about. So when the nurse and the doctors come in there, I'm in the other side. Not only did they not close the thing when they were talking about the little girl, I had to ask the lady to close the curtain so she could have some semblance of privacy. This is what the nurse said to the girl. Now she could speak a little English, but not a lot. But you
Yeah.
could tell it wasn't her first language and that she was having struggles. The nurse came in and looked at her stomach and said, "Oh, why he cut you like that?" I'm
Jeez.
sitting over here. Now I am fresh pregnant, not hearing my baby heartbeat, thinking my head going to explode. And the nurse come over there is not even taking any time with this girl. Nothing. And then she gets to talk about how I think she had an infection or something because it was it was a whole bunch. I'm like, first of all, I can hear you.
No bedside manner, huh? These people.
I can hear you. I said it loud enough. I'm like, I can hear y'all. Because I wanted the nurse to stop talking so loud. Because I wanted the nurse, first of all, you screaming at this girl. And this girl is not from America. That's number one. Second of all, I'm not her friend. You don't know who the hell I am. And you don't know what I'm going through. So I'm listening to you talk to this girl any old kind of way. After she has had major surgery, because I want to say that the embryo messed up one of her fallopian tubes. If I
Okay.
remember correctly, it burst and she lost. You know what I'm saying? And she was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. I was 37 when I was pregnant with Nick. This girl was 19. They don't care. They don't care about you, period. But I'm not taking up arms because I'm sitting over there about to have another panic attack because this is how you gonna treat me in the hospital.
Yes, that's how they treat us in the hospital.
I'm like, come on, man.
There's
And
articles out there, there's forums that talk about it where they think that Black women are addicted to pain meds. That's why they don't give it to us right away. That we're going to turn into a bunch of drug addicts. What? That's
but
why you
this
don't
is
get
what Kevin
prescribed pain meds
Samuels
right away.
but this is what Kevin Samuels made his bank on.
Yeah, so he
This
just
is
took
what people
that and
and
he
ran
built
with
on
it.
it. Yeah.
Black women are, we don't, first of all, there was a study done. I don't know what year and I don't know who did the study, but there was a study. And I can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but the study proved that this was a study from back in the day, like 17, 16, 1800 back in the day. It's not anything
Hmm.
new, but it's still in the medical books and they still use it today. There was a study done and it was proven that Black people don't feel pain like white people. We have a higher tolerance of pain. So we don't have to have the pain medication. And they still have this in medical books. You can still look this up.
But they
They're
still
still
think,
teaching doctors.
yep.
They're still teaching doctors that we are fundamentally different. Our physiology is fundamentally different. When in
That,
reality,
hmm.
it's not. The only difference between us and white people is the amount of melanin in our skin.
Yep. But they still
That's it
use that. They still,
to this
the
day.
doctors still have that mentality because I live with chronic pain And it doesn't matter that I live in Canada and it's the US and you guys have universal health care over there. It doesn't matter. It's the treatment is not any different in Canada. We're not just running here in the fields and with the polar bears and like and the igloos, and it's not like that over here. And the maple syrup, okay, and the poutine, okay, it's not any different over here. Okay, the doctors are just as nasty with Black women. It's just we don't broadcast it. We're not news happy like Americans. And
that's true.
we don't just broadcast all our nastiness like that. We're very good at hiding it. But I live with chronic pain, and when I complain, like they say, when I complain, because that's what they call it, complaining about my pain, I don't get pain meds. They think Tylenol and Advil is pain medication, and it's not.
Right.
They will not give you Oxy and hydromorphone and fentanyl. Nothing. That's like last on the list. They're like, oh, you Black? And you a Black woman? Oh, you can wait. I've been in the emergency room 16, 17 hours before I even get to a room to see a doctor. And that's just for a migraine. Never mind my back pain. And I've had surgery. So that's just for a migraine.
I tore my ACL and they gave me one prescription, no refills for 15 days.
So, yeah.
That was the first time. When I went back for my surgery, when I went back and had the surgery when I broke my leg, and I was in rehab, they didn't send my pain med in. They didn't send my script for my pain med. So I just had my knee rebuilt. I have pins and plates in my knee. And for the first weekend I was there, they gave me Tylenol.
That's what they do. Because you know what they think? Oh, Black person, junkie. That's what they do. The studies are out there. Go look it up and read it and find these things and read it. It's important information to have because the first thing they think is, oh, Black person, junkie. It's like their mindset goes straight to like the 80s and the crack era and whatever. And it's like the first thing they think is if you give them these drugs, they're going to sell it or they're going to snort it. You know, it's like, are you serious?
But
I'm really in pain here.
That?
My pain is on 20, not 10.
We are not. When you think of crackhead, when you think of crackheads, yes, you think of Black people. But when you think of Oxy and meth and drugs like that, we don't even come into play.
No, they got some white crackheads. They're just they're just not in this. They're just not in the street with it, right?
I'm just talking about stereotypically.
Yeah,
stereotypically, crackheads are Black folks, meth heads are white folks. Now, do Black people smoke meth? Sure do. Do white people smoke crack? Sure do. However, if you look at the statistics, if you look at the people who are wanted for the sale of Oxy and shit like that, it ain't Black folks.
No, it's not.
If you see the people who are robbing their mama and their cousins and they look kids, it's not Black folks. If you see the people who are taking their pills and selling them on the street, it's not us. We gonna take our Oxy. We don't do that. Now, do some people break the mold? Sure. That's just like when you hear serial killer. If somebody say a serial killer, what color?
White folk.
Thank you.
That's Billy
Bob. Somebody say drive-by shooting. What color?
Yeah, that's us.
Some things is just stereotypical. Now, can other people? What I'm saying, can other people do it? Sure. There have been Black serial killers, and one of the most prolific serial killers was the boy in California. He was up there with Dahmer and Bundy.
Yes.
He did. He said, y'all ain't found everybody. He said, but I'm about to die, so that's cool. So, but yeah, do we do it? Sure. But is that our thing? When the DC sniper hit, and I was in Alabama at the time. We were at work because nobody knew who it was. So, I'm in the South. We hanging out. That's the white shit. He over there stuff. When he came out that it was the Black dude, it was like, oh.
I said,
He just sit down.
Stupid.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But some things, but because of the stereotypes, because of society and what it puts on our shoulders, people like Kevin Samuels can flourish. And Kevin Samuels wasn't the first one. To me, the first one was Steve Harvey. You can be mad at me
Yeah,
if you want to. I don't like Steve Harvey.
that fool.
And my not liking Steve Harvey is not gonna take one half a penny out of his pocket. However, he didn't go to the extremes. But listen, Steve Harvey talk. Listen to what he says. Listen to how he talks about relationships. He just did it more in a more acceptable manner. Act like a woman, but think like a man. What does acting like a woman mean? He did a whole movie with that.
Right?
Kevin Samuels just said, hey, I see your act like a woman, think like a man, and I raise you high value.
Right.
Because now in this age, Kevin saw that he could get a following. Kevin
That's the
saw that he could be that leader. Kevin saw that he was like, oh, this is an untapped vein. Let me see what I can say to get these men on my side. Let me see what I can say to get these women with this low self-esteem and this low value thought that they have in their head. Let me see what I can do to make them follow me. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about now. That's why we do our videos. I would be lying and sitting there saying we don't do our videos and make content because we want followers. It's not only because we want followers, but because we want followers is a reason. But I'm not gonna sit up here and come out of pocket with something that might be harmful to a lot of people because I see the women, I see young women afraid to do anything, scared to date online because you don't know if you will make it home, scared to answer a text because you don't know if you say the wrong thing, he might show up at your house because this stuff happens over and over again and nobody's doing anything about it.
It's true. And I was just in that situation a couple of weeks ago. My friend works at a bar. She's a bartender, and she told
Uh-huh.
me to come through. And I was like, okay, I'll come through. And there was a black man, Nigerian. He was at
Uh-huh.
the bar sitting at his way. She reserved my seat at the corner and where I always sit. And he made his way and scooted his way over to where I was sitting. And I was like, I wasn't even studying you. My girl's working. I'm here for her. It's Martini Wednesday. We're kikiing. Nobody's looking at you. He
Right.
comes, married, whole ring on his finger, doesn't care. Some other girl, she's, I think she was Mexican. She
Mhm.
had just broken up with her boyfriend. I can hear the whole conversation.
Right.
She moves from her seat on the floor and she comes and sits up at the bar because they needed to seat some people. And she took the seat that was empty beside me.
Right.
He comes and scoots in the middle of us while we're trying to have a conversation. I'm like, who does that? Turn off. Whatever. And then he starts chatting her up. I said, good, because I didn't want to talk to you anyways. Then him and I start talking and just casual bar, simple conversation. And listen, if you can't handle your liquor, call an Uber, call a cab, call a friend, go home. Male or female, for me, that's not cute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pints of beer later, 6 shots. And then all of a sudden, this is where he effed up. He decides to put his hand on my shoulder. And I'm sitting there like, who invited you? What are you doing? And he almost like slaps my shoulder like I'm his homie. And I got hot because this is where New York, Brooklyn came out. I'm ready to like body slam a nigga on the table. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? And I forgot where I was and I snapped. And it's like, it's a bar. There's no bouncer. It's not a lounge. It's not a club. It's a bar.
Right.
And
Right.
he's like, hey. And then he had a tone. I said, oh, someone's dying today.
What
And it's
happened
not
with
me.
you?
And then he's like, hey, don't forget my name and my face. Next time you
Right.
see me here, you say hello. I said, this nigga done lost his mind.
But
Because you can't handle your liquor and because I'm not interested in you, you are a whole married man still wearing your ring in the bar, chatting up every girl in here. And then you put your hand on my shoulder, mistake number one. You raise your voice, mistake number two. My dad don't even do that. Are you crazy? Like, what are you, and what are you doing?
Yeah,
and then the third thing was, there must have been a good 10 men in the bar that witnessed this.
They didn't say anything.
Not including the bus boys, and nobody did a thing. Nobody stepped in and interfered.
Because because here's where the
black woman.
Right. Here's where the strong black woman trope, here's where that's a fallacy. Because we have had to carry the weight, people assume that we've gotten strong. Because we've had to carry the weight of the family, of the kids, because we've had to carry the weight of the culture, because anytime something happens, like I said, we're the first person that they throw out there as a bad guy. Why do you date white women? Because black women are loud. Wait, what? What I got to do with your date? This, like I said earlier, that's just like saying, why do you like chocolate? Because vanilla just, vanilla just there. We have been made up to be strong, but we're not strong. We're tired. I'm tired of having to explain to you why, when we say, I'm tired of having to explain to you why we have an issue with cultural appropriation. I'm tired of having to explain that to you, because even me, people have said something about how I wear my hair. If I'm telling you that it's fine to appreciate, but when you start acting like you are part of the culture because you got something and you bring us into the situation, it's one thing to do your thing. Do your thing, boo-boo. But don't call my name. And when you say black woman, you calling my name. Because at the end of the day, that's what I am. So when you say black women this and black women that, y'all are calling our name. But why are you calling our name?
Right? Don't put me in your mess.
We are tired of having to carry that. We are tired of it being our fault that the men don't stick around with the kids. Because in some instances, that is why. I'm not about to sit up there and lie and say that all men leave women because men are sorry. That's not true. That's not true. A lot of the times is because they don't want to deal with the mama so much that the kids bear the brunt of that problem. Is it always true? No. So the other mamas, we are tired. We are tired of having to make excuses. We are tired of having to make excuses as to why we want to get our high school diploma, as to why we want to get our degree, as to why we want to get our advanced degrees, as to why we want to be doctors and lawyers. We're tired of having to explain to you that we're tired of working paycheck to paycheck to take care of these kids that you didn't want to stick around with. We are tired of having to make that particular argument. And we're tired of men using that shit against us. We're tired of it being used against us. And not just in a relationship, sexual manner, but period, in a workplace. I have always been that chick. If I get a job, because I haven't had my ideal dream career, which is to be a lawyer, I haven't done that yet. I might still do it. As long as I got breath, I might still do it because that's what I want. But I haven't achieved that yet. However, I do make it my business to, when I have a job, I am indispensable. And here's why. Because all they see is somebody that is easily replaceable when they look at us. So when I get a job, I can do everything from the front door to the back door. I can say what I want, do what I want, come and go as I please. My last job, Buffalo Wild Wings, I am a 55-year-old bartender, but I did what I wanted to. They don't call me in on my off day. Even the manager will tell you don't call her number because you're not going to answer. But we've had to do that because it's just not enough to be good. You got to be more than good enough. You got to
Right.
be
We
more
have
than
to be
good enough.
overachievers, unfortunately.
So now that they have made us be overachievers, so now that you have made us overachievers, you got an issue with that. So now that we have achieved so that we can make enough money to take care of us and our kids and maybe go on the weekend to the park. You mad that we have had to figure it out. You mad that we've had to figure out how to change our own tires and check our own fluids. Because you ain't built like them dudes you talking like. You're not built like them dudes who get their hands dirty. You built like them dudes that would get your girlfriend car, drop her off at work, and then go pick up your other girlfriend in it and explain away the baby seat in the back.
Right.
And explain away the Victoria's Secret cologne on the floor.
Well, you know, that's my nephew car seat.
You know,
Them
his mama
dudes,
dropped that when he put him in the car.
the F boys,
See
that's
how
what we
they
call
made
them.
the same.
F boys, yeah, them.
You're
Yep.
not
I
made
wouldn't
the
have to
same.
work. I wouldn't have to work 2 jobs if you contributed to the household, or if you kept up them child support payments. Yeah. God forbid you ask for that.
Or hell, you ain't got to work, but if you ain't working, here's the thing. If
Come
I
around.
got so far up in my career that I'm cool with going to work, you know, I'm cool with making the bacon and frying it up in the pan. How about you wash the pan? How about I don't have to get daycare and childcare because my husband, who ain't got no job,
Nope.
does
They
what
were
he wanted me to do?
no.
Huh?
They were brought up, you know, the misogynistic mindset, you know, that you're supposed to be at home pregnant and barefoot. And they work and they bring home the bacon, right? And you're supposed to clean the house, and then when it's time to service them, that's what you're supposed to do.
But they're not doing it.
And
But
it's
then
like,
they
how
get
you
mad.
expect me to be at home and you like you don't know how, like you said, you don't know how to change a tire. You don't know, and you don't have any carpentry skills. You are not a plumber. You have to call a plumber to come. You have to call a mechanic to fix the car. But you expect me to be a housewife. Explain that. Explain that.
Because this is what they've been taught is the way it's supposed to be. But the reality is that we don't know. We got to make time changes. Society shifts, and you have to be able to shift and change with it. What worked in the 40s, the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, and the 60s, hell, the 70s, the 80s, shit, the 90s doesn't work in 2022. You have to
Mm-mm.
be able to adapt, and you have to be okay with that adaptation. Women should not have to make excuses for wanting to do what they want to do because neither should men. If men want to stay at home with the kids, I'm cool with that because society has told you that you shouldn't.
Yeah,
If a
okay.
man wants to
At
be,
least we have that here. Okay, America needs to advance with that. At least we have that here. We do have paternity leave. It's not as
right, if
long as maternity
they
leave, but we have that.
if you don't want to go back, if daddy don't work and he took care of mama while she was pregnant and took care of mama while she rehabbed from the baby, and mama is ready to get out of the house and get back into the workforce, and daddy don't have to go back, and mama make enough for daddy to sit at home, daddy,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm okay with that. You should be okay with me wanting to go back to work. You see what I'm saying? There shouldn't be. There's enough shit in the world
There's this, but it's a
for us
stigma.
to be. There's enough stuff in the world for us to worry about than to worry about whether or not a woman has an education or how much money she makes. Because here's the thing, the killing part is, I read one that he said that women want men. Women don't want men that make as much as they do. I was like, in what fucking world are you from?
What?
Yes, Kevin Samuels said some dumb shit like that. Women want lower value men or some shit they said. I don't forget how he said
He
it.
must have been high that day. He must have been high that day.
He was high his whole time. That's probably right. Nothing. I was about to be ugly. Hold on. Stop. I was about to say something fucked up. Let me hold that back. But
bring it on back. Bring it on back.
I had to bring it on back because I was about to be but I don't understand that. Everything else progresses. Technology progresses, education, science. Hell, man. I couldn't begin to help Nick with just 8th grade math. Okay.
And science, that's relative. I don't know if science has progressed.
Well, what I'm saying is,
goddamn, it's 2022 and y'all still can't cure cancer. I know. Science, it's like, really? They're hiding some stuff. Y'all can't even cure a migraine. Mm-hmm. What did I press? Lisa? Oh no.
hear me now?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
There's going to be, I'm telling you, there's going to be a drug that just keeps cancer at bay. It keeps the cancer from coming back if you continuously take it. There's going to be a drug just like they have one now that gets HIV down to undetectable if you continually take it. There's going to be a drug that comes out that will keep heart disease at bay if you continually take it. As long as finance is attached to pharmacology, there will never be a 100% cure for anything.
Right? They can't have that. Big pharma.
So I'm not talking about that scientific advances. Hell, I'm talking about Febreze. I'm talking about being able to spray some shit.
No.
I'm talking about shit like Febreze. When I say science has advanced, I'm talking about cars with push buttons. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about pharmacology.
Like deodorant. Okay, science.
Yeah. Okay. When I say science is advanced, the killing part is I don't even look at medicine and pharmacology as a science because that is a 100% financial institution.
Yes.
Medicine, doctors, pharmacies, that is 100% financial. That's all about how much money you have. That is period, end of discussion. If Black people had 90% of the wealth, Black people would not have the problem that we have in hospitals. It just is what it is. If we control the wealth, we wouldn't have a problem. The reality is we don't. So you will never get a 100% cure to anything. Because even the cure, even the vaccines, even with the vaccines, I still got COVID. Now, it wasn't as bad. I had some symptoms, but I didn't have to go any further in my bed. I didn't have to go in the hospital. I took some drugs, passed out. Week later, I was all right. I still feel some lingering shits, but not nothing. You know, a lot of these people who didn't get vaccinated, but no, there will never be 100% cure because as long as you can make $1 off of somebody's life and death, they will make $1 off your life and death.
Yep, and that's what they do.
But that's what I'm saying is everything advances. Everything advances. Everybody, you find a better way to do something. At first, you had horses.
And carriage, right?
And then you had carts. And then you had trains. And then you had motorized carts. And then you had motor cars. And now you got things that you push a button and you don't have to get any gas. That's what I'm talking about. Everything advances, but people. You
But
want to
not
keep the
Kevin.
people stuck in the past while the world advances around them. You want people, you want women to be stuck barefoot and pregnant. And the
Because
men don't advance, they go backwards. The
that's
men
how
don't
they keep the
advance.
control.
The men don't advance, they go backwards. It is not a man's job anymore to take care of his house, to marry the woman he loves, have the kids, take care of the house. It is his job to be of high value. It is his job. His manly duty is to spread his seed and to be a man. This is what the rhetoric says. We as a people don't advance. So when we do, so when Black women decided, you know what, it's okay, you're going to incarcerate our men, we're going to hold it down till they get out. But in doing so, we had to make it work. So you hate our advancement. And you have men like Kevin Samuels who makes a profit off of hating our advancement.
Right.
You hate our glow up because it doesn't align with your antiquated ideals. But if you see that you can make some money, if you see that you can turn some people to your side, if you see that you can have men who already don't need a good reason to be misogynistic and antiquated, but you give them one and you can make money doing it, here come Kevin. And after a while, somebody will replace him. Somebody will come out talking about high
Well,
value men.
he got fresh and fit, right?
Well,
He
Fresh and
got
Fit,
them.
he fucked up. Fresh and Fit messed up. Cause he didn't know. Cause see, Kevin worked up to his bullshit. Kevin slowly pulled you in. Cause at first it was relationship advice. Kevin kind of slowly pulled you in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey,
those two
Steve.
those two fools, yeah, they're a whole nother.
He slowly pulled you in. You didn't know. It's just like uh it's just like you not knowing that you're a prisoner until you realize you can't do nothing on your own. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People who are born into slavery and things like that, you don't know you're a slave because you've never known anything different. So to
Wow.
you, that's life. That is normal. That is your day to day. So that's what Kevin did. He loved them into a false sense of security. He was like, hey, let's talk about these relationships, this Black love. Then slowly but surely, men should do this.
He was talking about
Men,
abuse. I don't know about the Black love. That was abuse.
yeah, but see, they don't see it as that. They
No,
don't
they
see that
don't,
as abuse.
because people think abuse is only in a physical form. They don't think that it's mental.
They
It
don't
could
see
be
it as abuse because they don't think he's saying anything wrong. See,
right.
here's where you got him messed up at. He's not saying anything wrong. He's just saying what we have wanted to be said forever. This is how men have always felt. This is what we always think. And Kevin just could say it. And y'all just mad that he's saying it. No, see what y'all fail to realize is that we as Black women have had to deal with somebody telling us we were less than our entire existence. Our entire American existence, we have been less than. From the time they stole us, brought us over here, put us in chains, and bred us like cattle, we have been less than. When they took us out of the field and brought us in the house to nurse their children because they couldn't be bothered to feed their own children, we have been less than. We've been good enough
Mm-hmm.
to be food, but not good enough to be called a woman. We
Good
could
enough for
cook your
masses
food,
pleasure, right?
right? We could cook your food and clean your dirty drawers, but we're not good enough for anything else. We've always been less than, constantly told that. But then the civil rights movement came along, and women showed y'all what happened when women put down, when women get down. Because you only hear about the men in the civil rights movement. And every now and again, they will say something about Rosa Parks. See, that's how I know people don't know their history, because she wasn't the first Black woman to
No,
not
she
get
was
up.
not. No, she was not.
She was just the most attractive. She was just the most palatable. She was just the woman that the civil rights movement can use, because the white women will look at her and go, oh, she kind of looks like us. If y'all think I'm lying, Google it.
Yes, there was a young woman before her. It was a dark skinned lady. I don't know if her name. I don't remember
I
her
don't know
name
her
though.
name offhand, but see, that's my fault. I should know her name.
Yes.
Because when the civil rights movement came along, every now and again you throw the wives out. They don't throw the names of the women who actually lifted their fists, raised arms, and went back to back, toe to toe with the men during the civil rights movement. You throw out Coretta Scott King because that's Martin Luther King's wife. You throw out Betty Shabazz because that's Malcolm X's wife. But you throw them out as the wives, as some kind of extension of the men. Even then, even in the middle of the civil rights movement, the patriarchy was still alive and well, because it wasn't what Coretta did. It was what she did for Malcolm as an extension, not Malcolm, what Martin did.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't what Betty did. She did that because of Malcolm.
Right. Like she didn't have her own identity.
Like they were not people just, and then they how Angela, yes, Angela Davis. Now Google those. Now Google Angela Davis's contemporaries. Google the Black Panther movement, but then Google the women of the Black Panther movement. They don't realize we have been moving
And you
step
know
by
what's so
step,
crazy?
side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And now, see, that's
And
what did it for us. That's when Black women realized we got to hold it down. That's when they realized that. Because that's when they started sending Black men to jail in droves. Every time you turn around, a Black man was getting 30 years for stealing a candy bar. So now these families were left without patriarchs. So mama had to come in and figure it out. That's why I said I don't understand why everything doesn't advance. Everything advances with people. We get stuck, and the first thing they say is they want to go back to the marriages and the lifestyles of the old times, the 50s and the 60s. You want to go back to the Jim
oh
Crow
no,
era?
ma'am. Mm-mm.
You want to go back to the Jim Crow era. You want to go back to black and white mountains. You want to go back to black and white bathrooms. You want to go back to having to go to the back to get your food because you can't sit at the counter. That's what you want
You
to
gotta
go
be.
back to.
You
You
want
want
to
to
go
go
sneaking
back
around.
to. You want to go back to not being able to stick up for your woman, because even though you the man of the house, you still the black man of the house. That's what you want to go back to. That's the traditions and sensibilities you want to go back to. You want to go back to sundown towns where you can't be black and in this town after dark because it was legal to kill you.
Right? They thought police brutality is bad now. It was worse then.
That
It
is
was
where the
worse.
police came from. People don't understand. The police did not come because we needed police. People can police themselves. If you have, and laws and all these things came along during the Jim Crow era. They didn't have all these extraneous laws before that. After slavery, you had the Jim Crow era. People don't understand. The Jim Crow era, with all these laws and police forces that were established, because even though you could no longer legally keep slaves, they had to figure out a way to keep black people in line. So what did they do? They invented laws and established police forces. Lynching was legal. You could pull a black man, a black woman, a black child out of their house at any perceived grievance. and hang them by the neck until they were dead. And this is after slavery and before civil rights. This is when people would sit up there and lash black men to death, draw and quarter them, make a day out of it. And people think we trying to be funny. This is what the fuck you want to go back to. And black men, please do not play into that. Please don't play into that. The past was not the best. You got to make the best of the present and make the future better. Everything has to progress. Kevin Samuels did not progress. He made it so that women felt some kind of way. He made it so that the women who did have the self-esteem to ignore him, even those women looked in the mirror at themselves a little differently, wondering if all their successes, wondering if all their achievements made them less desirable.
Right.
Even for a second, even the most confident, self-assured woman or man, if you keep telling them your big brain, your big wallet, your big degrees are the reason you big alone, even if it's only for a second, a woman or a man will doubt themselves. Now imagine telling that to women and men who don't have that self-esteem, who don't have that self-knowledge, who don't have their self-awareness. And imagine what it does to them. You get men who will blindly follow you down a dark alley with no rescue in sight. And you got women that will bow to your greatness that doesn't exist.
Mm-mm.
I do not wish death upon anybody, but I don't mourn the death of somebody I don't know. Never have and never will. And you
Nope.
can't sit up there and tell me I'm supposed to be sad, or I'm supposed to mourn, or I'm supposed to feel some kind of way, or I'm supposed to pray for, I'm supposed to send a special prayer up to what? Boy, if you don't get somewhere inside down.
That's what I said. I will not be lighting no candle.
Not a candle, not an
I will
incense.
not be RIP nothing.
If
He will
anything, I'll
not
burn some
be.
sage to make sure that demon don't come back.
No, that's right.
I'll burn some sage sticks.
I know
Go
people were wilding, having parties, having cakes made. And
crying.
listen, if that's their process of grieving and getting rid of some toxic,
Do you,
whatever,
boo-boo.
do
Do you.
you? But you
But
can't tell
baby,
people how to grieve and how to process, what they thought was filth that was walking this earth.
and you cannot tell me that I'm supposed to feel sad. Let me tell you something. The same people, the same men who are telling black women that we should. This is
You should
what,
be
and one person
ashamed.
said, one guy said, he was like, oh, and the girl laughed. The way she did, it was like, you know how we do when we see something so ironic, we can't do nothing but bust out laughing. She hit
Yeah.
one of them hard laughs and smacked her mouth. And then the guy came on, because they do the stitches and the duets or whatever. So he came on and he was like, and this is the woman that y'all want us to want? You should feel something. You should respect his past. What?
No, you just mad because nobody wants you. That's what it is. I'm sorry what it's going to sound like. Go find you a Becky, a white girl. Go find you an exotical, because that's what you guys like to go and crawl behind. And leave us alone.
And the killing part. And here's the killing part. Here's the killing part. Yeah, I remember a few weeks ago, the black guy who was killed by his white girlfriend, who is not in
Thank
jail.
you. Yeah.
Who has not even been, here's the thing. Not only is she not in jail, but there
Not being
hasn't even been a
investigated.
crime. He
She
spent
followed
his
him.
entire platform. He was another one with 1 million of whatever followers and shit. His entire platform. Not only, at least Kevin tried to hide it with pretty words. He couldn't hide it, but he tried to hide it with pretty words.
Yeah.
At least Kevin tried. This boy was just out now talking about how ugly black women were, how I don't like the way their lips are. I don't like this. I don't like that. Black women do this. Now you got to, and from what I understand, that's how
That's
he was raised. He
self-hatred.
was African. He was straight African.
That's self-hatred.
But that's how he was raised, because I think his mom and his brother, because you understand, just think because people are from Africa does not mean they pro-black.
That's true.
Because it's a lot of self-hating Africans.
Yes.
Who think white is right.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, I don't know for sure, and I could be wrong. So that's why I'm saying, for what I understand, this was something he learned at home. So now the brother, when he passed away, comes out asking for our support, how we should protest, how we should get out and make sure that the girl is prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Why? Your brother spent his entire online presence not just talking about Black women, but talking about how bad we were, how awful we were, how ignorant, how ugly. Why would we, even if we were so inclined to do that for anybody, why would we do it for him? Just because he's Black?
No, you better find your tribe in Africa and figure that out. That had nothing to do with us. I'm sorry.
So I'm sitting there going, the first thing that Black men say about white women is that white women are their peace. They don't have to deal with a white woman's mouth. They don't have to deal with her loudness and her ghetto-ness. And there's a softness. There's a
she doesn't talk back.
She doesn't talk back. Right.
She's submissive.
Submissiveness. Mm-hmm. There's a submissiveness. There's an inherent submissiveness about white women. And here's my jam. Again, I would say, if I was a white woman, I would be mad as hell. I would be mad that my worth, my value, and who I am as a person is dependent upon how you feel about Black women, how you feel about women that look like your mother and look like your sister. I would be mad at that. I would be mad at that. But nope. Nope. That's not how it works. We're supposed to be there for everybody. And nobody's supposed to be there for us. And nobody sees that. Nobody says that. We're supposed to be there when they fall, when they cry, when they need, when they want. We're supposed to be the background, the backbone, the foundation. We're supposed to provide the knowledge and the wisdom. But when we need just for you to show up, stand with us, even if you don't say anything, lock arms, stand with us, and mean it, we can't even get that. We can't even get that.
No, that's a damn shame.
And it's as simple as that. That's just the simplicity of it. I have I have no malice and no hate for anybody. But I have nothing left for anybody else. I just can't. And it is what it is.
Right? They're just gonna have to sit with that. Because I've seen it all over Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I've seen it all over YouTube, and people are making all kinds of videos, and they want to put Black women in the title to get their clicks and views and whatever. And it's leave us out your conversation.
Well, all I say, they're never going to.
It's like if we don't feel no way, we don't feel no way. Move on. It is what it is. I'm pretty sure, Fish and Frog, aka Fresh and Fit, are going to sit there and make their video about it. And it's like, get over yourselves.
Well, you know what? I have absolute positive no idea. Fresh and Fit is funky and fraud. I don't know. These are children to me. These are children to me. And my thing is this. When these little boys get through their temper tantrum they holding right now, and push comes to shove, And they're gonna need somebody that got a solid backbone, because the reality is, if this is how you have to do these things, if this is how you have to maneuver, if this is how you have to get around, your backbone is wishy-washy. And you ain't gonna need somebody submissive. You're gonna need somebody there for you. You're gonna need somebody that's solid. And just saying you want somebody because they ain't loud. I'm not loud. I don't argue with nobody. I don't discuss nothing with nobody. This is 2022. I'm not arguing. If you want to say something, you state your piece. I will say what the fuck I feel, and I'm walking away. We're not going back
That's
and
right.
forth, because
I know
nothing you
that's
can
right.
say is going to change what I mean. Nothing you can say is going to change what I think, and nothing you can say is going to hurt my feelings. Nothing. You can't talk about my kids, because guess what? You couldn't touch my kids with a 10-foot pole. You can't talk about my mama because they dead. And they are in a place where you can't touch them at. You can't talk about me, fat, this, that, not doing this, that, and I do more with this one ragged ass leg that don't work and this other one that half work sitting than you do standing, walking, running, and driving. So what the fuck you gonna say about me? I'm not arguing. I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I don't do beef. I don't call out people by their name,
Mm-mm.
but I don't do discussions and arguments. And whether or not you follow Kevin Samuels is your own business. Your thoughts and your prayers are with you. If you don't like what I'm saying, guess what? Click off. Hell,
That's what I tell people. You don't understand the beauty of silence.
baby, if I don't like you, if I don't like your content, hell, if I just don't like you because it's something about your voice, the way your eyeballs look at the camera, the way your slot, I don't know. It could be the way your nostrils move. I don't give a shit. If I don't like you, I don't look at you. I don't make content about you. I don't make comments about you.
I don't
If
have
I
time
don't
for that.
like you, you don't exist. So I don't have to sit up there and talk about nobody. And it blows me when that's what people do. Kevin Samuels spent his entire platform talking about people. That's basically what it boils down to. You can make it pretty. You can talk about he was a relationship guru. You can talk about he was a mentor for men. And one boy said that he was a father figure to us. Well, yeah. Well,
Broken.
clearly you didn't know what a daddy is, but okay, we'll roll with it.
Right? But those are the little boys, because I can't call you men, I'm sorry. Those are the little boys who didn't have a daddy in the house, and they have that yearning burning in their belly,
Let me
and they
tell you
had their
something.
arm reaching out talking about daddy.
You stupid. Let me
That's
tell you something. That's
that's
also with the
them.
daddies in the house. Because I will say one name. Lil Bootsy make my ass itch. Lil Bootsy make my ass
Yes.
itch.
Ooh-wee.
Lil
He's
Bootsy
another
make. Let me
fool.
tell you why. Lil Bootsy is a public figure. Regardless of whether or not I like what he raps about, that's irrelevant. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you I ain't said no, no, no. I know the words to just about every nasty ass rap song there is that came along in the 99 and the
Yeah.
2000s. Okay. So I know every word, and 99.9% of them were about women. Face down, ass up. Know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Hmm.
However, because he's a public figure, the things he does to his kids are borderline child abuse.
Yes.
That shit he does with his son, his 9 year
Mm.
old, and you got a
Yep.
stripper,
Yep.
that's sexual assault. And that child, even with the daddy in the house, is going to have issues. People think that the daddy is the end all be all. Hell, that the mama is the end all be all. But if you got a sorry mama and daddy, that's worse than not having one at all. Because at least if there's nobody there, you can find somebody suitable to fill the position. You can find a mentor in somebody who has your best interest at heart. You can find a grandmama that wants to raise you out of nothing but love. You can find an auntie that ain't got no kids, but come on, boy, sit down and come on over here. I would rather for you to find somebody that loves you and has your best interest at heart than you to have an actual living physical parent that is sorrier than the people out there in the general public.
Hmm.
Because that shit he does to his kids so they won't be gay.
Ridiculous.
The last time I looked, you can't go to Walmart and pick up gay. I don't know what aisle that on. I have not seen a gay section yet. Now you might see some pride flags during June, but I haven't seen a section yet where you just pick up you a lesbian package.
Where the
I don't
bi
know.
section at?
Well, where you go? Where you about at? I haven't yet. I have seen church after religion after church after religion knock on my door, ask me, is Jesus Christ my Lord and Savior? But I haven't yet to see one gay man or woman knock on my door asking me how I feel about glitter and show tunes. Not one. It's not a choice you can make, because let me tell you something. Now every day and twice on Sunday, I would choose to be black every day. Because when I tell you I love my people, when I tell you the things that we do, when we're not paying attention, when we're just being authentically us, when we're not trying to be nothing for anybody, we're just living our life. When I tell you how we stand up for each other and we don't even have to know your name. When I tell you how we will feed your children and clothe your children, and we don't even have to know you exist. When I tell you how we will make the worst day the best day. When I tell you how we can make the roughest edge smooth as silk. Ain't nothing like a black person. And top that off, there's nothing like a black woman. Have you seen when black women get together? Have you
Beautiful
seen
thing.
us? Have you seen us when we put our lotion and our body oil and our shine on? Have you seen the sun hit our fucking shoulders? Have you seen how a black woman walk into Walmart like she is walking the red carpet at the Oscars? So when black men or anybody get on here talking about we this, and the third, you are forgetting that that means nothing, because what we innately are at our core, you can touch. And we just get better with time. So let me tell you what I feel for Kevin Samuels. I feel pity that you did not see the gloriousness in your blackness. Yes, we go through hard times. Yes, we go through oppression. Yes, they kill us. They imprison us. But some kind of way, we still find a way to smile and shine. Some kind of way, we still find a way. We still find a way out of no way. And that's what I feel for him. I feel that pity that you couldn't bask in the gloriousness that is us. And you had to make it your business to put us down. You had to make it your business to give men a deficit. Because when you teach men that this is what's right, you're giving them a deficit. You sending them out there in the world butt ass naked, thinking that this is how it's going to be. Not realizing that that you capitalize off of their ignorance. Because you can't do what Kevin Samuels did. You don't have the pull, the power, and the play to do what he did. And at the end of the day, you're just going to look like a petulant child throwing a temper tantrum because the black lady didn't treat you right. And that if I have to feel anything for him, it is that. Now, I've been on here a long time. I don't even
Yes.
know how long. I got to talking with you and hallelujah.
A little over 2 hours.
Been on here a long time because my throat started getting dry. Anyway, I really appreciate
Well, I have my water
you,
bottle.
Miss.
I've been sipping my water.
I was too, but after a while, you heard me coughing. It wasn't working. I had something, but it wasn't working. So maybe that was a sign for me to shut up. Uh, I really appreciate you, Just Janelle. Hopefully, you will come
Yes.
back and sit on this panel with me again because I
Yeah.
like that because you got a different point of view from a different area.
Yes.
And that's what we need because
Uh-huh.
I'm always and forever going to be for my Black queen. I married one, so
I'm
y'all know
very
what up.
tuned in. People think because we live in Canada that we're not tuned into what's going on in the States, but I took American history as well in college. So and even if I didn't, half my family's American. So
I
um
mean, you know what? I mean, we just different sides of the same coin. We all in North
right.
America. We all in North America living. I
It's only a
mean,
land border.
yeah,
It's
you
only
know,
a land
Trump
border.
Trump wanted to build a wall, but no, just
Oh,
playing.
he couldn't do that over here. As much as he didn't want to admit it. You kind of need Canada. You
You
can act
need
like you
Mexico.
don't need Mexico, but you
You
kind of
need
need Canada.
Mexico. Because if you look at the bottom of half the stuff that's made in Mexico. It don't say made
Mhm.
in Puerto Rico. Don't say made in Hawaii because you like to act like Hawaii and Puerto Rico and the other territories aren't American. It don't say none of that. It says made in
Right?
Mexico.
Hmm.
So you need both of them. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, I know it's wishful thinking to think that we all should just get along. This is not reality. But that being said, if those of us that want to get along do, I'm cool with that.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, what's gonna happen is gonna happen. But if we can just try, you might not succeed. You might not be able to do it with everybody. There was a young man in another video I did, and me and him went back and forth. No, it went on a video. It was on I don't do content on TikTok, but I do comment. And sometimes the creators will pin my comments and sometimes they will go off of that. So me and this young man, it was under a Kevin Samuels video. And I said something about how I said something. And then he
Okay.
wanted to go back and forth. And my last comment was like this, baby, I'm not telling you to police all your friends. What I'm telling you is police one. Tell one homeboy that that ain't cool. Let one homeboy know that what he's doing is foul. Let him know that he is seen. And let him know that his actions are not good. That's it. We not telling y'all to police all the homeboys. We not telling y'all to bitch mode. That's not what we telling y'all. We telling you to do one dude. One dude that don't know how to talk to women. One dude that doesn't know how to keep from hurting women. One dude that doesn't know how to act in public. Let him know. Check him because he's not listening to us. No matter what you and I say, no matter how many times I do videos or chats or whatever, they're not listening to us. Because if they were listening to us, they wouldn't be listening to him. But they do listen to each other. So if
Yes.
one dude, if one of y'all, this is for the replay and for the people in the chat, if one of y'all just check one of your homeboys or one of your homegirls, I'm not just gonna leave you with men. Check your homeboy. The one that don't know how to talk to women. The one that gets out and y'all go out to the club and he always a little too aggressive, a little too touchy, a little too handsy. You ain't never said nothing
Hmm.
because of your homeboy, but it makes you uncomfortable. Check him because they're not listening to us, but they will listen to you. And maybe you save some girl from getting her feelings hurt. Maybe you save some girl from being assaulted. Maybe you save some girl from feeling scared. And trust me, that one is enough. Homegirls, check your girl. If she too flirty, she too, let her know. Come on, come on. Don't do that. You too good for that. Or hell, he don't want you. Stop. The best friend is the friend that will tell you what's wrong with you, not the one that will tell you how great you are all the time.
I know that's right.
The best person for you is the person that's for you. And the person that's for you will check you each and every time. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Uh-uh. Nope. Your friends will check you. Your acquaintances will leave your ass hanging. Thank you again, Just Janelle. I really appreciate it.
Me too.
Come anytime. Anytime you get that notification, you see that
Yes.
click link, you hit that link and hop on in. I would
Great
like to thank.
conversation.
Go ahead. Say
No,
your
I said I
goodbye.
had it was a great conversation, and I hope to pop in on another topic.
I
And the
think
other
I'm gonna
people
do a Roe
watching,
versus
don't
Wade
be
topic to give
scared.
you. I'm gonna do a Roe versus Wade thing because people think that Roe versus Wade. I was going to do it as an attachment to this because people don't understand how those two go in common. But I'm going to do it separate because people think Roe versus Wade is just an abortion issue when they don't realize what that 14th Amendment is, and that's the amendment that Roe versus Wade is in. They don't realize the enormity of that amendment and what will happen when they start overturning the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. They don't understand what that has, the connotations it has for men and women. So I
Okay.
think I might do that. I think I'm gonna do that. I got to do a little bit more. I got to have a little research because I know stuff, but
Yes.
I don't know stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, I've got to
I know
brush back
stuff, but
up
I
on
don't
that.
know stuff. So I got to do a little more reading on that
Okay.
because I'm always gonna be pro-choice because it is not my job to tell anybody what to do with anything. It's not my job. It's not my job to tell you not to get plastic surgery. It's not my job to tell you not to get surgery. It's not my job to tell you not to do anything. As long as you're not bothering anybody else, do you, boo boo? And I have been
Hmm.
pregnant, and I know what pregnancy does to the body. And I know that it is not a walk in the park. It is not a sunny day skipping along beside the tulips and shit. And I know that if it's something you don't want, I have seen kids that the parents didn't want. And trust me, it never 100% works out favorably. Never. So I'm always pro choice, but that's not the only thing that Roe versus Wade will do because that's not the only thing in the amendment. And when you start overturning parts of the amendment, you can overturn the entire amendment. And people really need to look up the 14th Amendment to the Constitution and understand what that means and understand that it has very little to do with a woman's right to choose and all to do with a human's right to choose. And not just your right to choose, but your rights as a whole. Rights guaranteed to you by the Constitution. They need to really read that.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Because
I'm gonna brush up on my reading.
sometimes prayer can't help you with everything.
No, it can't. I'll brush up on that because I'd like to keep up with what's going on because, like I said, I have family over there. And I'm a dual citizen. So whether I choose to come back and live over there or I keep my behind up here in Canada, it's good for me to know what's going on in both countries.
Yes, because if you're a woman and you're still childbearing, and and you don't know which decision you would make, you need to be able to make that decision. Imagine that you can't make any decisions for yourself. That somebody who doesn't know you, doesn't know your struggle, doesn't know anything about you, can tell you what to do with your body and yourself.
Mm-mm.
Imagine me coming to your house. It's just like coming to your house and you're on birth control. Let's say you're on birth control. Me coming to your house and taking all your birth control pills and telling you can't do that. You can't do that anymore. I decided that you can't do that because my religion says that you can't stop babies from me anymore.
Yeah, we fighting.
But basically, that's what it is. That's one. That's one of the situations. But that's because because see, people are making things very complicated.
Yeah.
They're using all the big words and the legal jargon and all that. They're making things very complicated. But when you break it down to its base, the religious base, because what they're saying is life begins at conception. It actually doesn't. That's different. However, it is a religious thing that they're
Oh, what happened? Lisa? Hello? It dropped.
All right, am I back?
You're back. I'm like, it
Okay.
dropped.
Oh yeah,
You were making such a good point and then it dropped.
my bad. I mean, but that's basically it. That's basically it as far as
Yeah.
that particular aspect of the amendment. But there's so much more that I didn't know.
So you're saying, sorry, because it had dropped. So you said they're trying to make it
They're trying to make it
a
as
religious
though
thing?
that yes, it is a religious thing. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they're saying. People are not listening when
Okay.
the senators that are against them, they're not listening to what they're saying. They're
Okay.
not saying because science says life begins at conception. They're not saying that. They're saying the Bible says.
Oh,
They're not saying that life begins at conception because science will tell you it doesn't. It doesn't. Before the 13th week, you got, I don't know what it is. It's like a lima bean. I put it to you like this. You can have the embryo for a dog, a cat, a pig, a cow, and a baby. Sit them all at the same time of gestation, and they all look alike. You couldn't pick out the baby. They're not saying scientifically, so that scientifically you're ending life. That's not what they're saying. They're
it's all that.
saying biblically.
Also, that's that fear mongering, and then they want to
Yes.
throw in the religious thing, and then
Yes.
that's where people are like, oh my god,
Right.
yes,
Yes.
cut it
That's
out.
what they're doing. But the 14th Amendment is basically your rights to everything. Slavery is in the 14th Amendment. Your rights to fair and speedy, all that stuff. Check the 14th Amendment out. People don't understand. There's a Constitution, and then there are 26 amendments to the Constitution. Now, understand, since the Constitution has been written, there have only been 26 amendments. This is a 400-year-old document?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and
This has went
reread
through
that.
so many generations. This has went through so many generations of people, and you only have this small amount of amendments to it. And they're not upgrades; they're just amendments.
Of
It
course, they're not
doesn't
trying to upgrade that.
upgrade the Constitution. The Constitution has never been upgraded to adjust to the times changing. They've only added amendments as things have came about. Civil rights, the criminal, you have amendments to do. That's why you could do what you want to as a cop back in the day, because criminals didn't have all these rights. You had to make amendments for these things. People didn't have the right to tell the doctor what they wanted to do and what they didn't want to do. Doctors did what they wanted to do. You had to make amendments for that.
Aren't Black people still considered what, 1/3 of a human?
In certain places, yes, because you gotta understand, it is almost what they do. Instead of abolishing a law, what they'll do is make a civil rights violation that counteracts, that nullifies the law. It's hard to abolish a law. There are still laws on the books in certain parts of the South that says Black people can't be out after dark in certain places. These are still enforceable laws. There's still laws on the books allowing for a husband to beat his wife with a stick no bigger than his thumb. A husband can beat his wife at home, but you can't beat her on the steps of the courthouse. They don't abolish the law. They amend and they change and they make civil rights violations that nullify the law. When civil rights came about, when the civil rights movement and became and the amendment far as the rights came, it started to nullify a lot of the laws that were inherently against personal civil rights. Not being able to discriminate against a person for their race, religion, things like that. We just recently got added. Discriminating against somebody for their sexual orientation was just recently added. People think that shit has always been there. It hasn't. For a while, the only thing you couldn't discriminate against was religion, race. And that was it. Then you had to add a disability. Then you had to add the sexual orientation. These things came about later. They just passed the Crown Act. And there are still private businesses that can fire you because of your hair if they don't like it.
That's true.
There's still private businesses that can discriminate against you because of the hair that grows out of your head.
Mm-mm.
This does just not have to do with women's rights. It is rights for everybody. And it is so far reaching past that.
But they know women is the bigger audience, right?
Oh.
They know women is the target audience to get things moving. That's why they're pushing that agenda. They know if the women get out there to march, that's where the numbers are. That's why they're saying that.
But what's so stupid, the idiocy of men is what blows me. So there was a senator, I want to say he was a senator. He was a representative or senator. He was in the House. I don't know which chamber of the House he was in. But he was saying, because he was talking to a doctor, and they have the Senate committees and they talk about things. So he said something about an ectopic pregnancy. He said, "Can't you detach the fetus from where it is and move it to the no?" The doctor said no before he even finished. Well, let me finish. No is the answer. It's not a viable fetus. It's not viable. And if it is allowed to grow, because it will grow. And if it's allowed to grow, it will kill the mother. Period. She said there is no scenario where what you're saying can happen. If you make it so that a woman who has an ectopic pregnancy cannot get an abortion, cannot go in and get the fetus removed, she will die. He said, well, no. And people don't understand the fetuses, if they don't implant correctly, they don't just implant in your fallopian tubes. They can implant on any organ nearby.
You okay?
It is somebody telling me to shut the hell up. People don't understand that. When you have a pregnancy that does not attach properly at the initial fertilization, and it does attach, because the reality is, and people want to be all, Disney movie and shit, but the reality is a baby is a parasite until it's out. So if the egg is fertilized and it doesn't attach to the uterus, to the uterine lining, it will attach to the nearest organ. It will attach and it will grow. But it's not growing in the proper place. The uterus and the cervix are made for that. The rest of there's no other part of the body on anybody that can survive a baby but the uterus and the cervix. That's it. You can't let the baby be stuck to the liver, the kidney, anything, the spleen, nothing. If it attaches to anywhere else, the mother will die, period. And you cannot transplant it. Because once you detach it, it automatically dies because the only thing keeping it alive is the mother. The only thing giving it a semblance of life is the mother. And once you detach it, there's no machine that can keep it viable. And he argued with her. And he interrupted her.
Notice what you said, he. You see, he's always trying to make these rules.
The same one, there was a man who said that women who get raped don't get pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Because they were raped. Now, this was a grown ass man
What year are we in?
who was elected into an office.
Mm-mm.
He said that women who are raped don't get pregnant because it's rape. He said there was another one. It's always a he. I don't know which he, but it's always these are actual quotes. These are actual quotes and sound bites from actual senators, representatives, of people, of fully elected officials. These are what they're saying.
These are the mothers who stayed at home and yes, dear, no, dear.
Yeah,
and
these are what they're saying. That that you would leave a child pregnant by her father, uncle, cousin, brother. And it won't do anything to her. She's a woman. It's made. That's what they made for. That's what women are made for. You're talking about an 11-year-old child who, on top of being assaulted, they were assaulted by a family member. And now they're pregnant. And they have to stay in the home. Yeah.
And you know what some people will say? They'll argue the religious angle.
Yep.
Well, if it happened, it was God's will.
There in Tennessee, they took away the age limit on being married. So if a parent signs off on it, a 45-year-old man can marry a 10-year-old child.
Wow. Wow. I can't say anything any better than where the province that I live in Canada, because the legal, like the age of consent here, 14, not for sexual stuff, 14. So 14-year-old girl.
This is a worldwide problem.
Yeah, but people
the sexualization of children.
But yeah, 14-year-old girl wants to be with a 35-year-old man. That's not some R. Kelly stuff. She's allowed.
Sexualization of children is universal. That's just not an American thing. That's a world thing.
Yeah, but it's just like I said, it's just we are well hidden. Our stuff is not blasted out there like that. You know?
I know, but I mean, reality is, if you know, you know. The reality is that the world looks at little girls. They don't call. I have heard man after woman after woman call an 11, 10, 11, 12-year-old a woman. Refer to her as a woman.
You got your period. Use a woman now.
Right. Refer to her as a woman. But refer to a 17, 18, 19, 20, 25-year-old man as a boy. Boys will be boys. That's just what boys do.
Right?
Little girls should wear extra clothes because you don't want them tempting the little boys.
Ridiculous. The double standard for the children.
And that is why, and that right there is why Kevin Samuels, that's what made his bread and butter. That was his moneymaker. The fact that we know this and can do nothing about it. So on that note, I will thank you again, because every time I thank you, we start up again.
I know.
We might have to make this a regular thing.
Monday
thing, pick somebody and just talk about them, because I'm now losing my voice.
Okay.
But I would like to thank everybody for joining us.
Yes.
I would like to thank all my moderators. I would like to thank Just Janelle, because she has made the show much longer and much more enjoyable than just me. If y'all are listening to this in the replay, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Miss Janelle, do you have a channel?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I just support everybody else's
Okay.
channel. I pop
If
in
you
every
had a
in the
channel, I was
live.
about to soup it up. I was about to copy. I was about to put it. I was about to do my commercial break. I want to thank all my moderators for taking care. I want to thank everybody who came in the chat. Like I said, I wish no ill will, but you read what you sow. You get what you give. And if you give hatred, that's what you're going to get back. This your girl, Lisa. This just Janelle. This was
Yes.
Hey Y'all. I'll be back.
Have
Put
a good
them
night,
comments
everyone.
down and let us know what you want to talk about. Good night, y'all.
Good
Peace.
night.
Ugh.